What's up guys, welcome back. This is Anime Crossover. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Married to the Goddess of Death in Marvel, Part 1. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. Naruto was filled with a sense of great fortune. He was an experienced traveler who unintentionally found himself in the perilous Marvel universe. Upon his arrival, there was a noticeable absence of chakra, karama, and any sort of system. Now Naruto had a wife named Hila who was an ideal match for him. Although the name may evoke thoughts of the eldest princess of Asgard, Hila had a distinct personality that set her apart from that aunt. She had the same name as someone else. Hela's features were exceptional. She had an impressive height and a stunningly curvaceous figure. She was highly skilled and exceptional. Aside from being slightly chilly, there were no other drawbacks. "May I ask why you are looking at me?" At the dining table, Hila looked displeased and inquired of Naruto. Naruto had been gazing at her, causing her to feel a bit self-conscious. "Hello, I've noticed that the more time I spend with you, the more impressed I am by your appearance. I'm not sure if it's just my perception," Naruto said with a smile and readily offered her a compliment. Hila blushed and felt a bit bashful upon hearing Naruto's words. Nevertheless, she swiftly cast a glance at Naruto, and her eyes were filled with a myriad of affectionate emotions. "Please eat quickly." She made that statement, but a subtle smile played on her lips, revealing the undeniable impact of Naruto's compliment. Naruto also smiled slightly and savored the breakfast that he had meticulously prepared. The porridge was expertly prepared, boiled to perfection, and topped with a sprinkle of fresh green onions. With expertly cooked eggs and freshly made soy milk, it was a straightforward yet nourishing breakfast. "Do you have any plans to go out today? Drive safely. It's been a bit risky lately." As Hila finished her breakfast of preserved egg and lean meat porridge, she gave Naruto some instructions. Despite the professional demeanor, there was an undeniable sense of genuine concern. "No need to worry, I'm simply going out to discuss the copyright of Lord of the Rings, everything is fine. I should be back by noon, and I'll prepare some delicious ribs for you." Naruto reassured Hila with a smile, ensuring that she wouldn't worry too much about him. Regarding the copyright of Lord of the Rings, Naruto lacked any special talents, thus limiting him to the role of a copywriter. Naruto acquired this coastal estate where he resided with Hila by authoring the books he retained from his previous existence. "I have finished my meal and will now return to my room to relax." Hela's health was compromised due to an injury, necessitating frequent periods of rest. After breakfast in the morning, Hila typically returned to the room to rest, and today was no different. "Hold on, please stay still." Naruto halted Hela's movement and requested her to remain stationary. Then, under Hela's watchful eye, Naruto delicately removed the remnants from Hela's mouth after she had finished her porridge. "Alright, make sure to get some well-deserved rest." Hela's face flushed with embarrassment. After giving Naruto a disapproving glance, Hila quickly returned upstairs. Naruto grinned, unfazed by his wife's embarrassment. He tidied up the dining table. Despite having experienced everything that should occur between a husband and wife, she still felt a sense of timidity in his presence, reminiscent of a young girl. Hila was the eldest daughter of Odin, the king of Asgard, and the first heir to the throne of Asgard. It is unclear why Hila ended her relationship with Odin and was subsequently sealed by him. Only recently did Hila manage to break free from the seal, though she sustained significant injuries in the process. She concealed herself in Midgard, which was Earth. Then Naruto came to her aid. Reflecting on Naruto's kind gesture in the morning, Hela's heart rate quickened. Regrettably, she was a renowned assassin in the Nine Realms, embodying the concept of mortality. When had someone violated her like this? In the past, anyone who dared to gaze upon Hila would meet a grim fate at her hands. Nevertheless, Hela's heart was not repulsed by Naruto's closeness. Contrary to expectations, there was a subtle sense of enjoyment. Hila had never experienced this feeling of love before, but surprisingly, she didn't find it repulsive. Behind the wheel of Ferrari's latest sports car, Naruto smoothly exited the elegant manor that he and Hila called home. Regarding the copyright issue, it was expected that Naruto wouldn't simply replicate the book, Lord of the Rings. Naruto had not left behind any works that gained significant fame, such as A Song of Ice and Fire, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Hunger Games, Twilight, and others. With his earnings from manuscript fees, Naruto amassed an incredible net worth of billions, placing him in the upper echelons of society. Today, Naruto was preparing to discuss with a film company regarding the film adaptation rights of Lord of the Rings. Due to Naruto's considerable wealth, he seldom ventured out unaccompanied in ordinary situations. Hiring 8 to 10 bodyguards was a sensible decision. Naruto continued his journey until he encountered Hila. Hila had no intention of ensuring his safety. With his wife's fragile physique, Naruto was the one ensuring Hela's safety. Upon collecting Hila, Naruto's system was abruptly activated. Every morning, he would receive a variety of unusual rewards. Tom Cat's expertise in capturing a mouse. Licoon cigarettes that are always a challenge to finish. A hairpin worn by someone with expertise in the field. The porcelain bowl Aurelia broke during her childhood. Alongside these less valuable rewards, there were also some highly valuable ones. The Big Wolf's Science and Technology Encyclopedia. Little Master's Culinary Journey. Impressive cornering skills that never falter. Body template of Kryptonian General Zod. Particularly the body template of General Zod. This was the reason behind Naruto's self-assurance in being able to be on his own without any bodyguards. Despite recently acquiring General Zod's body template and not having absorbed much sunlight, he was still in the early stages of his transformation. However, on the present Earth, it was more than sufficient. Despite the absence of Iron Man in the present, there is still a certain purple sweet potato floating in the universe. Regarding the concept of being a hero, Naruto had never given it much consideration. He simply desired a peaceful and joyful life with his wife, Hila. That was sufficient. Regardless of whether a superhero saved the world or not, the wife held a greater significance. If it was of significant importance. When the purple sweet potato arrives on Earth in the future, Naruto makes a timely appearance. Naruto was confident that he would effortlessly defeat the purple sweet potato. As Naruto contemplated these matters, he expertly maneuvered his Ferrari sports car, effortlessly passing one vehicle after another, until he arrived at the entrance of the film company. After bringing the sports car to a halt, Naruto straightened his attire and entered the elevator. As a book writer, a film adaptation carries significant financial potential and should be approached with utmost seriousness. Above, a team of skilled individuals dressed in dark attire with intense determination in their gaze observed Naruto down below. The target has arrived. Prepare yourself. A man dressed in black spoke sharply to the others over the walkie-talkie. Clearly, the film copyright this time was more complex than Naruto had anticipated. In New York City, there is a clear distinction between the control exerted by the government during the day and the influence held by the gangs during the night. The leader of the underworld gangs, Kingpin, commanded the largest and most powerful force. Recently, due to the growing popularity of the talented writer Naruto, there has been an increasing amount of attention directed towards this gifted individual. This involves the ruler of the criminal underworld in New York City, Kingpin. Naruto promptly took the elevator to the floor where the film company was situated. Fisker Film Company was the name of the company that had plans to acquire the copyright of the novel series, Lord of the Rings. Hello, this is Naruto. Please notify your supervisor. I came over today to discuss the copyright of the novel. Naruto located the front desk and spoke. Interestingly, the front desk of this film company was manned by a strong-looking man dressed in a black suit and sunglasses. I understand. Just proceed to the end and then enter. The individual at the front desk abruptly addressed Naruto before abruptly falling silent. Naruto looked displeased. The front desk's demeanor was quite unprofessional. If it wasn't for this film company, I would have had to pay exorbitant copyright fees. He would have simply turned around and left. Suppressing the unhappiness in his heart, Naruto arrived at the designated location. He politely knocked on the door and respectfully entered. The room was devoid of any furnishings, save for a sizable table. No one was present. What on earth are these individuals doing? Naruto entered the room with a serious expression. Naruto found it peculiar that it was clearly daytime. However, the curtains in this room were still closed for some unknown reason. Not long after Naruto stepped into the room, the sound of footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. This was definitely not the result of one individual's efforts, but rather a collective endeavor. Shortly after, the door of the room swung open, revealing a group of individuals dressed in sleek black suits and sporting sunglasses. The leader of the group was quite imposing, standing at a height of over 1.9 meters. He had a distinctive style, often seen wearing a thick gold chain around his neck. "You are Naruto, the author of Lord of the Rings." The individual approached Naruto with a tone filled with frustration. Reluctantly concealing the sadness in his heart, Naruto nodded. At that moment, the final individual in the suit entered the room and securely shut and locked the door. "I am willing to offer $1 to purchase the full rights to your Lord of the Rings work. Please come and sign it." Upon receiving this information, Naruto comprehended. Where was this purchasing of copyrights? This was a theft. Upon this realization, Naruto's expression also turned icy. "If I decline, what actions will you take?" Naruto said in a stern manner, facing this group of individuals. There was absolutely no fear. These individuals in formal attire chuckled as if amused by Naruto's naivety. The strong individual in charge swiftly produced a firearm from his possession and positioned it against Naruto's forehead. "Please come over and sign, or there will be serious consequences. The decision is up to you. Make a choice between life and death." If Naruto were an average individual, perhaps there truly was no alternative. However, Naruto's eyes took on a more intense demeanor. He also recognized that these individuals were not a legitimate film company, but rather involved in criminal activities. "Do you have any knowledge about this? I strongly dislike when someone aims a firearm in my direction." Naruto spoke with a professional demeanor, displaying no signs of fear. Witnessing Naruto's unexpected reaction, the gangsters were equally taken aback. Is it not expected for individuals to immediately fall to their knees and plead for mercy when confronted with the menacing barrel of a firearm? What's going on? Were the authors of books such courageous individuals back then? However, it was somewhat unexpected. Obviously, Naruto wouldn't be defeated so easily. If they choose to do so. If Naruto's body were to be deemed of no value. Nevertheless, they had ample resources at their disposal. It was evident that death was often regarded as a source of comfort. If someone is unable to endure and unable to pass away, existence can become an agonizing ordeal. With Naruto securely in their possession, they had full control and plenty of chances to extract something of value from him. Just as this gang of criminals was about to take down Naruto and kidnap him, a mysterious figure suddenly broke through the glass window from outside the building with great force. The man was dressed in a striking pair of red tights. He was widely acknowledged as a highly skilled daredevil. This superhero, with their impressive abilities, proved to be a formidable opponent for the underground gang in Hell's Kitchen. These individuals severely underestimated the presence of Daredevil during this specific moment. Nevertheless, these gangsters were swift to respond. They confidently displayed their weapons and aimed them at the intruder, the Daredevil. When it comes to Naruto, shooting is not an option, but dealing with Daredevil is a completely different situation. Furthermore, the room was rather small, which restricted Daredevil's range of motion. Given the intense gunfire from these criminals, it was highly likely that at least one shot would find its target, despite their lackluster marksmanship skills. It's unfortunate that Naruto went unnoticed by everyone. He was becoming increasingly frustrated. Naruto was already feeling exasperated when he realized that these individuals had no intention of giving money, but instead wanted to take it. In addition, these individuals were ruthless criminals, showing no regard for moral considerations. Naruto demonstrated exceptional speed and decisiveness as he swiftly unleashed his attack. The person delivered a powerful strike to the man standing in front of them, causing him to crash into the nearby glass window and then tumble down the stairs. He delivered a strong blow to the nearest gang member, causing them to crash into the walls of the room. At this moment, the other individuals quickly responded and pointed their firearms at Naruto. Regrettably, the situation had already reached a point where no further action could be taken. Naruto obtained the body template from General Zod, but unfortunately, it couldn't absorb enough solar energy within the given time constraints. Nevertheless, it exhibited a higher degree of strength compared to the average person. Naruto is incredibly impressive, outshining even the likes of Spider-Man and Captain America. Considering the circumstances, it's unrealistic to expect these ordinary gangsters to effectively handle Naruto. Naruto expertly apprehended these criminals, quickly subduing them. It is clear that their bones were broken, resulting in an unavoidable outcome. Currently, Naruto observed Daredevil, a highly skilled superhero committed to fighting crime. I am aware of your identity, Matt Murdock, the lawyer in Hell's Kitchen who happens to be blind. You came across these individuals. Please avoid mentioning my identity, or I will find you. After saying these intimidating words, Naruto quickly turned away, not giving Daredevil a chance to respond. Naruto was careful about disclosing his identity and attracting excessive notice. Nevertheless, Naruto had no desire to pretend to be a grandson. When faced with provocation from someone lacking awareness, he tends to respond with physical aggression. It deviated from Naruto's typical approach. Daredevil tried to speak, but was completely speechless. He was intrigued by Naruto's knowledge of his identity, but Naruto swiftly moved on without giving him an opportunity to inquire. The Daredevil released a sigh of frustration as he surveyed the motionless gangsters scattered around. He was worried about Naruto's level of focus. I am unsure about the potential impact of this writer's expertise on New York. Daredevil released a tired exhale. Then he took out his mobile phone and dialed a familiar number. Pardon me, sir, I have a matter of significance that requires your attention. While Naruto was dealing with these gangsters, his seaside manor also had a surprise visit from a group of unexpected guests. In order to fully capitalize on the advantages of Naruto, Kingpin crafted a detailed strategy. It was initially focused on Naruto and later shifted to Hila. He was certain that apprehending Hila would guarantee Naruto's cooperation, eliminating any trace of apprehension. Kingpin's analysis was correct, but he failed to consider the exceptional nature of Hila. While the hired assassin discreetly dealt with the bodyguards surrounding the manor, Hila, who should be sleeping, abruptly swung open the door of the manor. Naruto expertly coordinated the efforts of these bodyguards. Despite not needing personal protection, Hila still deemed it necessary. The bodyguards were hired to provide top-notch security for Hila. These bodyguards were not as mature as the highly skilled assassins sent by Kingpin. When the assassins overcame the bodyguards and infiltrated the manor, Hila quickly rose from her bed and made her way to the living room. It is imperative that we take prompt action. The authorities will be here in 10 minutes. Let's step up our game. An individual from the Kingpin's team motivated their fellow comrades. Kingpin had a strong presence in New York and had built relationships with many politicians. Even the police station had its staff. Nevertheless, even with Kingpin's involvement, he can only temporarily postpone the police's arrival rather than completely halt it. These individuals were also experiencing considerable pressure. If they were unable to apprehend Hila before time expired, this mission would not achieve its desired outcome. What were the results of not achieving success? They were certain that no one would be willing to give it a try. In a shocking turn of events, an unexpected explosion occurred at the entrance of Naruto's manor, granting a group of skilled infiltrators access to the premises. They thought Hila would find another place to stay, but instead, she calmly sat on the sofa in the living room, giving them a cold stare. It seems that Naruto is facing some challenges outdoors. Hila pondered silently, but she didn't give it much thought. This is just Midgard. If he causes trouble, how significant can it be? What's all the commotion? Keeping her identity hidden would create turmoil in Midgard. Successfully located the target. Please prioritize the process of removing her. The assassins were surprised by the smoothness of the unfolding events. They were on the verge of achieving their goal. After a short pause, they quickly responded and came up with a plan to resolve the situation involving Hila. A seasoned professional gravitated towards Hila, leaving the other assassins who reacted slightly slower to silently curse their luck. It would have been a notable achievement if they had apprehended Hila, but regrettably, someone else got to her first. As for the assassin who approached Hila first, he experienced an immense feeling of joy. He nostalgically recalled the days of his remarkable achievements in his career. Hila shook her head, placed the coffee cup she was holding on the table, and adjusted her posture to sit up straight. Then, Hila unveiled a sleek, dark weapon known as the Sword of the Night Sky. While the individual had high hopes for his future, tragedy struck when he was unexpectedly impaled by the lethal Sword of the Night Sky, which pierced his heart. The sudden change caught everyone off guard. Hila confidently stood up, capturing everyone's attention with her elegant and poised demeanor. An ordinary individual challenging a higher authority, it is not a tragedy to face their downfall. Hela said nonchalantly. Nevertheless, she had decided the fate of these assassins. The assassins also reacted, their eyes filled with apprehension. Mutant. Undoubtedly, Hela's methods were regarded as unorthodox by these assassins. Many assassins were concerned when they thought about the abilities of mutants. In that moment, they ignored the order to capture Hela without causing harm, and every single one of them pointed their guns at her. What are your thoughts on mutants? Their formidable firepower allowed for no chance of escape. Hela dismissed these guns as insignificant playthings and effortlessly conjured multiple swords of the night sky with a casual gesture. Several people were killed by a mysterious sword that appeared in the night sky. The effectiveness of eliminating was disconcerting. The assassins failed to uphold their professionalism and recklessly fired a barrage of gunfire at Hela. Nevertheless, as the bullets neared Hela, they were met with an imperceptible force field and abruptly stopped in their tracks. Hela said nonchalantly, and then a multitude of swords of the night sky gracefully ascended into the air. It seemed as though every life within the manor had been meticulously taken by a sharp sickle of death. On this occasion, the assassins were completely caught off guard. They didn't have the courage to stay any longer. They were overwhelmed by fear and anxiety. From their point of view, Hela seemed to be more than just a human, a truly terrifying being that appeared to have come from the depths of the underworld. No one had any hope of escaping or surviving in front of Hela. Every intruder who dared to infiltrate the manor was swiftly dealt with by the formidable swords of the night sky. Hela disregarded these insignificant beings. With a poised stretch, she returned to the room. Just before she left, she gracefully reached out her hand and effortlessly snapped her slender middle finger with her thumb. With a swift strike, the assailants were swiftly eliminated by the powerful sword of the night sky, leaving no evidence of their presence. Currently, Hela had no plans to disclose her true identity to Naruto. She thought it would be best to address the issue once she had regained control of the Asgardian throne. Naruto was completely oblivious to the attack on his estate carried out by Kingpin's highly skilled assassins. At this moment, he had just left the supermarket, holding onto some fresh ingredients in his hand. Naruto had a knack for carefully handpicking his ingredients. With his considerable financial means, he has the luxury of having any cuisine from around the globe delivered to his doorstep in a matter of moments. I bought an extra chicken to help Hela, as it seems like she needs to gain some weight. Naruto contemplated silently. Hela exuded an air of elegance, with a delicate collarbone that beautifully complemented her facial features and figure. One downside of her appearance was that she had a slim figure and lacked a certain allure. She seemed polished and put together, but he clasped his hands together subtly. Furthermore, if an individual has a lean physique, their body might experience a decrease in strength. Hela's body had sustained injuries, requiring recovery. Naruto failed to recognize Hela's true character, initially mistaking her for someone docile and easily influenced. If those who were initially opposed to Hela were to listen to Naruto's evaluation of her, they would undoubtedly be profoundly touched. What areas of her physique needed improvement? Where did she display a moment of vulnerability? It's remarkable that she effortlessly annihilated a planet all on her own. She found it just as effortless as mowing the grass. Is it being implied that this person has a flexible and easily influenced body? Was there an issue, or was there something wrong on my end? Little did Naruto know, as he accelerated the sports car to return home, he had unknowingly attracted the attention of many spectators. The discussion about the couple Naruto had already begun somewhere on Earth. The Shield Bureau is situated in the Sky Mothership, which is positioned 30,000 meters above the sea. Nick Fury concluded the call, placing the phone aside. "Coulson, kindly make your way to my office." Nick Fury and Coulson maintained communication through Shield's internal network. He assumed his position and fixed his gaze on the image of Naruto displayed on the screen. His gaze shifted rapidly, leaving others intrigued by his thoughts. Shortly after, Agent Coulson arrived at Nick Fury's office and respectfully knocked on the door before entering. "Excuse me, may I assist you with your order, sir?" Coulson had a conversation with Nick Fury. "Do you have any knowledge about this person?" Nick Fury didn't mention it directly and instead looked to Coulson for confirmation. At that moment, Coulson's focus was captured by Naruto on the screen. I comprehend, a writer with a stellar reputation who is currently sought after and has a Japanese heritage. I have a deep appreciation for his books and proudly identify as a dedicated fan. I have a strong inclination towards Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean. Excuse me, do you have any questions about him? Coulson had a good understanding of Naruto. He had a strong passion for reading books. It's clear that Coulson failed to comprehend. What was the reason for Nick Fury's interest in Naruto? Despite Naruto's current momentum, Shield regarded him as an average individual. Despite achieving success as an author, Shield did not hold me in high regard. Please reach out to him and, if possible, extend an invitation to him. Nick Fury was not very forthcoming with his information. He opted to keep several details from Coulson. He had a professional skepticism towards Coulson, as well as towards everyone else. Excuse me, I was wondering if it would be possible to acquire a signed book from him. Coulson's lack of inquiry played a crucial role in gaining the trust of Nick Fury. Coulson showed no interest in exploring or learning new things. He dutifully followed Nick Fury's instructions without hesitation. When contacting him, it's advisable to handle the conversation with professionalism and strive to avoid any possible conflicts. While Coulson was getting ready to leave, Nick Fury restated his statement. Coulson nodded, smiled, and left. Another group of individuals was also considering the pairing of Naruto and Hila, in addition to Shield. They were specifically considering Hila. Odin exuded an air of authority as he sat on his throne, his head tilted as he pondered his thoughts. Are you still considering Hila? Upon her arrival at Odin's side, Frigga inquired of him. And seal was recently broken and Hela managed to escape. Only Odin and Frigga were aware of this in Asgard. Truly, this child consistently gives me reason to worry. Odin always shared everything with Frigga, and Hela had a similar approach. Hela underwent a transformation to reach her current state. What caused this incident? Don't you have a sense of it within yourself? Frigga's gaze carried a subtle undertone of disapproval. She had raised Hela since childhood, despite not being her biological daughter. The connection between Hela and Frigga was significantly stronger than her bond with Odin. Observing Hela's transformation, Frigga couldn't help but acknowledge that Odin held some accountability for the events that unfolded. Nevertheless, everything had happened and had truly become a reality. Irrespective of Frigga's assignment of blame to Odin, it would not offer any help. I accept complete accountability. I didn't provide her with clear instructions. She should have been my most competent successor. Oh, it's not worth focusing on it anymore. I am now considering the potential threat that Hela may pose to Asgard. Odin reflected on his memories. There was a brief flicker of regret in his eyes, but it quickly disappeared. This mistake had already been made, and there was no point in dwelling on it. It was more efficient to prioritize finding a solution. Hela's return to Asgard was bound to happen, and Odin had a profound understanding of this. Nevertheless, the outcome of her arrival remained uncertain, leaving everyone in a state of ambiguity about whether it would ultimately be advantageous or detrimental to Asgard. I have confidence in that child, just as I have confidence in Thor and Loki. All of them are considered to be offspring of Asgard. Frigga smiled and reassured Odin. Frigga did not provide a specific reason for her silence, as she had the ability to glimpse fragments of the future. She recognized that Hela had experienced a significant change. She had transformed her former identity as the emotionless deity of death and had fully embraced the ability to experience and reciprocate love. Frigga possessed an immense strength that surpassed the tales of legend, making her the most powerful witch in the 9 realms and the god of magic. Frigga displayed a level of strength that surpassed Odin in certain areas. 9 realms, Midgard. After lunch, Naruto escorted Hela to the manor's swimming pool, where they indulged in some well-deserved relaxation on the deck chairs, basking in the soothing rays of the sun. Naruto was dressed in boxer shorts, showcasing his impressive physique. Hela chose a more understated appearance, wearing a one-piece swimsuit that tastefully highlighted her arms and 2 slender, graceful legs. Naruto was puzzled by the enigmatic events that transpired in the manor. Hela had expertly erased any evidence, leaving no trace behind. Nevertheless, Naruto couldn't help but notice a peculiar detail: the unexpected disappearance of the bodyguards. Where could they have vanished to? Did they demonstrate a lack of professionalism and motivation? It seems like I should consider finding a new group of bodyguards. For a brief moment, Naruto's attention was captivated by Hila. Marveling at the stunning beauty of that flawless face, radiant fair skin, and perfectly shaped legs, Naruto was completely captivated. Your intense gaze is making me uncomfortable, so I politely ask that you shift your focus elsewhere. Hila confidently stated to Naruto that she could accurately perceive the exact emotion in his eyes. However, Hila chose not to take any further action. She made the necessary adjustments to her body to enhance Naruto's experience, both visually and physically. This was a definitive rejection, yet the individual's behavior conveyed a strong message. Naruto smiled, not giving it much thought. He had established a strong connection with Hila after spending a significant amount of time together. My wife exudes a strong sense of self-assurance and assertiveness. She politely declined, but her body language spoke volumes. I can help you apply sunscreen to prevent any tanning, my dear. Naruto spoke with a strong sense of purpose and wasted no time in taking action. Clearly, this was just an excuse. Hila had incredibly smooth skin that never seemed to tan, no matter how much time she spent in the sun. Naruto was puzzled by this phenomenon, ultimately attributing it to her natural charm. When it came to sunscreen, Naruto's home lacked this item. He wanted to utilize Hela's skills. Clearly, Hila was determined to prevent that from happening. She tried to block Naruto's path, but he skillfully grabbed hold of her extended leg. Noticing the bare feet that were constantly squirming in his grip, Naruto's expression gradually grew more threatening. Hila seemed to have a slender figure, with her ankles clearly visible. Her skin, with its delicate complexion, revealed the subtle network of blue blood vessels just beneath the surface. Currently, Naruto found himself unable to handle the situation. Darling, it's getting late. We should consider getting some rest and going to bed early. Naruto leaned in closer to Hela's ear and addressed her. Hila gave Naruto a confused look, then opened her eyes and spoke in a jumbled manner. How is it already so late when the sun is still shining so brightly? What idea did Naruto come up with? Would she be unaware? He was motivated by a strong desire for this person's body. However, Hila did not express any objections, or if she did, they were not strongly stated. Reluctantly, Hila gave in after facing Naruto's intense stare. Let's go back to the room, it would be more suitable. Hila whispered. Thanks to Naruto's exceptional hearing, he was able to clearly hear her. Early in the morning, Naruto woke up and began preparing breakfast for Hila with great dedication. Congratulations to the host for successfully signing in and receiving the reward, Kunjin Kaishin. The system prompt sounded again, yet Naruto remained unfazed. Naruto initially felt a sense of excitement, but now he approaches it with a professional detachment. He had no intention of saving the world, so why would he feel compelled to rapidly enhance his skills? Life was going smoothly. Living a simple life with his wife was truly refreshing, wasn't it? With his wife in mind, Naruto's face lit up with a heartfelt smile. She mentioned her disinterest, but her body language revealed the truth. Had a sleepless night, with more energy than a hyperactive ninja. Thankfully, Naruto's physical fitness had greatly improved, and he was consistently becoming stronger with each day that went by. Otherwise, he would have found it challenging to match her pace. Nevertheless, Naruto was rather puzzled. Considering her typical level of physical fitness, Hila should not have been able to manage it. However, she appeared to have no difficulty whatsoever, which was quite unusual. In a recent development, there have been reports of Tony Stark being targeted by terrorists while engaging in discussions on arms trade in Afghanistan. Regrettably, the individual's present whereabouts are still unknown. Given the recent developments, it is worth noting that the stock price of Stark Group has witnessed a notable decline, with a decrease of over 5% recorded today. According to the analysis of esteemed financial experts, it appears that this decline is only the beginning, and there may be even more substantial declines in the future. It is recommended that most stockholders be prepared for this possibility. The news from the TV grabbed Naruto's attention as he paused his breakfast preparations. Finally, the beginning of a new era, Naruto murmured. With extensive knowledge in the art of traversing, Naruto understood that Tony Stark's destiny did not lead to his demise, but instead to a remarkable transformation into the legendary superhero, Iron Man. For a professional, the idea of traveling to Afghanistan at this time to search for Tony and eagerly await the opportunity to embrace him might be considered. Nevertheless, Naruto did not. He had no desire to become a superhero. Despite what many people think, Naruto's main interest was in the stock of Stark Group. Disregard the temporary decline in the stock price of Stark Group, as Naruto recognizes that this is merely a passing situation. After Tony Stark's return from Afghanistan and the creation of the arc reactor, the Stark Group experiences a significant transformation, propelling it to new heights. Throughout that time, the stock price of Stark Group would not remain at a low level. It would be wise for Naruto to take advantage of this decline and promptly acquire a significant number of Stark Group stocks. Books would no longer be relevant. The annual dividends of pure stocks were impressively high. Naruto could also take his spouse to travel around the world and live a life of utmost elegance and serenity. Given this, Naruto showcased a subtle smile. Then he picked up his mobile phone and found a phone number labeled Kutcher, and dialed it. "Hey, have you been informed about the recent decrease in Stark Group's stock price? I am interested in investing all of my funds in purchasing stock shares from Stark Group. I am interested in acquiring as many shares as possible." Kutcher was a highly experienced individual in the world of finance, while Naruto entrusted his book earnings to Kutcher for safekeeping over the years. He simply no longer required them. Naruto simply had to purchase Stark Group's stock in order to kick back and unwind. After that, he no longer had to be concerned about financial matters in this lifetime. He reiterated the information to Kutcher a few more times. After agreeing to make time for a meal, Naruto ended the call and began cheerfully preparing breakfast. Coulson arrived at the gate of Naruto's seaside manor, following the address in his hand. This is it, what an accomplished individual. Coulson gazed upon the opulent manor before him and let out a heartfelt sigh. Given his income, this type of extravagant mansion was out of reach. However, his focus was not on this particular matter. After letting out a sigh, he swiftly regained his composure. After straightening his attire, Coulson pressed the doorbell. Soon, Naruto arrived at the gate, dressed in casual attire. Naruto continued to feel a sense of unease. Who would seek him out at such an early hour? He opened the gate and was surprised to see a familiar face. As an esteemed figure in the Marvel world, I am the leader of Novice Village. Coulson's face was easily identifiable. And to be honest, Coulson was certainly someone Naruto didn't want to encounter. It is evident that Naruto was specifically targeted by the SHIELD Bureau. "Hello, are you Mr. Naruto? I am Agent Coulson from the Bureau of Investigation. I am here to gather information about what transpired yesterday," Coulson said to Naruto with a friendly smile. Naruto's gaze transformed into an icy stare. He was contemplating whether or not to eliminate Coulson. He was determined to protect his happy and peaceful life at all costs. Ultimately, Naruto decided to open the door and allow Coulson to enter. "Please feel free to ask any questions you may have." Although Coulson was allowed entry, Naruto had no intention of entertaining him and responded in a chilly manner. "Hey, do you recall the events that took place at the film company yesterday? Could you provide me with some details about that day?" Coulson was taken aback by Naruto's unexpectedly aloof demeanor. Didn't this brilliant author have a humble demeanor? It appears that the rumors lacked credibility. Upon further examination of Coulson, Naruto spoke. "You can just about your purpose, the SHIELD Bureau behind you. Is it trying to win me over, or do you want to control me?" Initially, Naruto intended to reject it, but upon careful consideration, he realized he couldn't deny it entirely. He provided a clear explanation of the situation, so let's discuss the potential outcomes. Coulson's face became motionless in an instant. He was taken by surprise when Naruto revealed his origin all at once. He lacked the necessary expertise to handle this situation. Ultimately, Coulson communicated with Naruto while under the voice control of Nick Fury. "Mr. Naruto, our organization's long-standing principle is to bring together all available resources for the greater good. Given your expertise, you have the potential to make a significant impact on a larger scale. Have you thought about the possibility of joining our team?" Upon conversing with Naruto, Coulson immediately recognized the establishment of the Avengers. Even if he had just crossed over, Naruto would never agree to it now. Naruto would only become a superhero when he had the time and opportunity. I'm not interested, I'll just say it directly. I prefer to maintain a peaceful environment as long as you do the same. However, should you attempt to exert control over me, rest assured that there will be significant consequences. Naruto spoke with a professional demeanor, making no effort to hide the underlying threat in his words. This also demonstrated Naruto's professional attitude of not interfering with one another. If the Shield Bureau fails to recognize the situation and take appropriate action regarding Naruto, I regret to inform you. Naruto is always proactive and never waits passively. It was a significant matter, with potentially fatal consequences for whoever arrived first. Naruto had the capability to dismantle the Shield Bureau. The Earth was a vast expanse. Give Naruto a few more days to absorb the sunlight. Then he will detonate it for you, revealing who was intimidated by whom. Unfortunately, the negotiations concluded on a negative note this time. Considering Naruto's determined demeanor, Coulson found it necessary to temporarily withdraw. Sir, I would like to present the specific situation to you. I am interested in hearing your thoughts on the matter. Coulson reported to Nick Fury on the Sky Mothership using his equipment. Before addressing the matter, Nick Fury took a moment to reflect, clasping his hands together and resting them beneath his chin. Let's set the case aside for now. I'll handle it later. It would be best for you to return for now. Ultimately, Nick Fury remained committed to being the first to withdraw. It would have been more prudent to exercise caution and avoid rushing, as this could have resulted in the unfortunate demise of the fish and the subsequent damage to the net. Clearly, Nick Fury had no reason to fear Naruto. Nick Fury remained unfazed by the level of strength displayed by Naruto. He was appreciating talents, without any intention of completely excluding the opportunity to involve Naruto in Shield. Indeed, finding someone with such exceptional skills was quite uncommon during that time. Upon concluding the conversation with Coulson, Nick Fury promptly retrieved another phone and located a number to dial. Shortly after, the call was connected, and a deep voice could be heard on the other end of the line. Nick Fury, may I ask why you are seeking my presence? Nick Fury stood tall and addressed Kingpin firmly, cease your actions against Naruto immediately. He is not someone you want to mess with. Indeed, Nick Fury made a call to the notorious underworld figure who ruled over New York City, Kingpin. Upon hearing Nick Fury's words, he took a moment to collect his thoughts before responding. Then he responded, "Are you instructing me on how to perform tasks?" Clearly, it was quite a challenge to get the Underworld Emperor Kingpin to submit so easily. You can attempt it, however, if you fail to comply, a new compliant Underworld leader will swiftly replace you in New York City. I urge you not to compel me to take action. Kingpin displayed a high level of arrogance, but Nick Fury surpassed him in terms of arrogance and showed no interest in giving him any respect. This was a typical occurrence. SHIELD was a highly esteemed department on the planet. It was an organization known for its aggressive nature, capable of exerting influence over the state apparatus. The approach taken by this department was assertive and commanding. If you failed to cooperate, the consequences would be severe. SHIELD was completely capable of accomplishing this. Kingpin held immense power as the ruler of the criminal underworld in New York City, yet his influence paled in comparison to the might of SHIELD. It was simply a larger ant that could be easily squashed. Kingpin clearly understood this fact quite well, so despite his silence, he remained subdued. I will attentively listen to you, that's all. After concluding the conversation, he ended the call. As Nick Fury rose to his feet, he made his way to the window, observing the clouds as they drifted across the sky. Now that the era of superheroes had not yet begun, SHIELD was an organization known for its aggressive tactics and disregard for dissenting opinions. As the controller of this formidable organization, Nick Fury wielded immense influence over America's national affairs. In the heart of New York City, within the towering heights of a magnificent skyscraper, lies the bustling district of Manhattan. The opulent decor displayed the owner's wealth, while the ornate oil paintings showcased their refined artistic sensibilities. If you were an unsuspecting person, you might mistake this for the bedroom of a certain organization. Interestingly, the owner of this house happened to be the infamous Kingpin in New York City. The well-groomed individual with a strong physique ended the call, nonchalantly placed the compact mobile device on the table, and gracefully swiveled away from the executive chair. This individual, known as Kingpin, held a position of power as the leader of the criminal organization in New York for a decade. Standing before Kingpin, there were two imposing individuals dressed in suits, while another man knelt on the ground, his tears flowing silently. "Lance, you are an incredibly valued friend. You have been assisting me for quite some time. Your consistent reliability has always earned my trust. But today, I expect a thorough explanation. How could you possibly fail to handle a situation with a regular individual?" Kingpin said in a detached tone. However, it was evident that his tone was filled with frustration. Regarding the unfortunate individual named Lance who was kneeling on the ground, he was responsible for orchestrating the Naruto incident. It was clear that Kingpin had intentions regarding Naruto, but he preferred not to handle every minor detail personally. As expected, his subordinates were responsible for completing this task. It was surprising how such a straightforward task became so complicated. Despite the car overturning, it was in good condition. However, Nick Fury, a highly respected figure in the criminal underworld, reached out to him recently to advise against targeting Naruto. Kingpin had a strong sense of self-awareness. He couldn't defy Nick Fury's orders, yet he couldn't help but feel furious. He could only express his frustration towards the person kneeling in front of him. "Boss, I'd like to explain the situation. I followed the plan meticulously, but unexpectedly, Daredevil managed to break in. Otherwise, we would have already achieved success, and all the wealth on Naruto's body would rightfully belong to us by now. Daredevil is responsible for all of this. It was him who thwarted our plan." The man named Lance passionately argued and defended himself, attempting to shift the blame onto Daredevil in order to avoid facing consequences. Indeed, it is evident that Daredevil is to blame for this unfortunate situation. Kingpin spoke with a measured and refined manner, savoring the aroma of a top-notch cigar as he carefully lit it. "Then, I confidently rose from the chair, gracefully approached Lance, and took a deep breath. Then please clarify, why are you unable to handle a woman?" It is evident that Kingpin was referring to Gila in his statement. If there were any issues with Naruto, it could be argued that Daredevil played a significant role. Gila, the woman who was known for her lack of control, surprised everyone by suddenly changing her behavior. There was no room for justifications. This was highly unprofessional. Upon hearing Kingpin's question, Lance was rendered speechless. He was visibly shaken, unable to find a way to defend himself. "That's it, bring him down." Kingpin glanced at Lance with a cool demeanor and casually instructed the other two men dressed in suits. "Please, spare my life. Please, I humbly request another opportunity. I understand the gravity of my mistake and I am committed to making amends." Lance continued to plead an appeal for mercy, desperately hoping to evoke a sense of remorse in Kingpin and secure another opportunity for himself. Dispose of him in a manner that ensures his swift elimination and serves as a meal for my canines. Kingpin had grown increasingly frustrated and spoke with a harsh tone, his eyes filled with intense determination. He was serious about wanting to do it. "I am unsure of the number of unfortunate individuals who have been sent to the mixer for dismantling in recent years." Once the room was empty, Kingpin composed himself and settled into his preferred seat. "Naruto, who are you?" Kingpin pondered silently. He couldn't fathom the unique identity that Naruto possessed. Even someone as experienced as Nick Fury was taken aback. Clearly, Naruto couldn't be a regular individual. At the seaside manor, Naruto dismissed Coulson and made his way back to the living room. Gila, too, woke up at this hour and made her way downstairs with a leisurely pace. Today, she was dressed in a sophisticated outfit. "Please take the dress." She elegantly lifted her skirt and walked with grace. She exuded an air of sophistication and grace, like a timeless symbol of refinement. Her presence was captivating, reminiscent of a delicate black lotus blossoming in the stillness of the night. She had an attractive appearance. "Did you recently have a visitor at your residence?" Gila inquired, seemingly aware that someone had recently been present. "Not a guest, a highly challenging individual. However, I have successfully escorted him elsewhere." Naruto was completely transparent. However, he failed to mention Coulson's unique identity. Gila nodded and refrained from further inquiries. She took a seat at the table and started to savor her breakfast. "Today's breakfast was quite basic. I prepared the noodles in my usual manner. Furthermore, Naruto included high-quality medicinal ingredients in the noodles, with the intention of providing nourishment to Hila. Naruto is an exceptional chef, with unparalleled cooking skills that are truly unmatched. His talent has earned him the prestigious reward of Little Master's Cooking Experience, solidifying his status as one of the best chefs in the world. Thus, the noodles crafted by Naruto emitted a tantalizing aroma. Hila skillfully used chopsticks to delicately pick up a few noodles, squinted her eyes, and nodded with contentment. Naruto's culinary expertise was a significant factor in capturing Hela's admiration. Hila did not have a strong interest in food initially. Nevertheless, Naruto had transformed Hila into a connoisseur of food. "Did you create any issues outside?" While enjoying her meal, Hila asked Naruto a question. "No, I do not engage in any illegal activities. What harm could I possibly bring about?" Naruto immediately denied it. He wanted to keep Hila unaware of any external issues. It was a person involved in criminal activities. He was fully capable of handling it on his own. Well, in that case, it would be wise to exercise caution. Hila didn't explore it thoroughly. She understood that Naruto didn't want to cause her any concern. She had no intention of inquiring further. However, she presented a black ring and set it down in front of Naruto. "Please hold onto it for safekeeping, so I can have peace of mind." Hila provided limited explanation and neglected to inform Naruto about the origin of the ring, which she created through her divine abilities. It is capable of withstanding a blow from someone of immense strength, comparable to that of a deity. She meticulously crafted it with Naruto's safety in mind. "I greatly appreciate receiving this item from you. It holds a special place in my heart." Naruto simply picked up the ring and effortlessly slid it onto the ring finger. From Naruto's perspective, this ring bore a striking resemblance to the peace talisman. Hila should have made a special prayer for his safety. She should be pursuing it with a focus on the psychological impact. This ring was crafted by Hila using immense supernatural power, making it a revered artifact in Asgard. Similar to how Naruto would be concerned about Hela's well-being, Hila would also express concern for Naruto's safety. From Hela's perspective, Naruto appeared to be an average human being. Naturally, it was a mortal who managed to please Hila. Hila crafted this ring with great care, considering the delicate nature of mortals. She was unwilling to see Naruto have an accident. "Maybe, I should contemplate the process of elevating Naruto to a divine status." Hila pondered silently. With Naruto now wearing the ring, she readied herself. In a realm as confined as Midgard, there would be minimal threat to him. However, mortal life had its limitations. Now, Hila had to contemplate ways to prolong Naruto's existence. Hila displayed an insatiable desire. She not only sought Naruto's companionship for 100 years, but also yearned for it to last for eternity. "I have finished my meal and will now take a break to relax." She was unable to comprehend the notion of elevating Naruto to a divine status at the moment. Consequently, Hila chose not to explicitly express her thoughts, opting instead to retire upstairs for her usual rest. "I have a meeting today for autographs. I have some commitments later and I might return at a later time. Please contact Aunt Lu directly at noon to request lunch preparation." Naruto agreed and made his own preparations. Aunt Lu, Naruto's nanny, had limited chances to showcase her cooking skills, but she was adept at preparing delicious Sichuan cuisine. "I understand. It is important to prioritize safety outdoors." Hela's demeanor remained professional. This was her consistent nature. Occasions of fervor like last night, however, were still infrequent. Naruto had become accustomed to the routine. He departed after neatly organizing the utensils on the table. Little did he know that on the second floor of the manor, beside the window of the master bedroom, Hila observed his departure. As the individual opposing Naruto called Kingpin, Hila spoke softly, yet her eyes lacked the warmth she had shown in front of Naruto. Instead, they exuded a chilling aura of lethal determination. Despite Naruto's silence on the matter, Hila managed to uncover the truth in her own resourceful manner. Upon discovering that Naruto had become the target of a mortal named Kingpin, Hila devised a plan of action. Naruto was her man, and only she had the power to intimidate him. Was anyone else deserving of his attention? Once Naruto had departed the manor and it was clear he wouldn't be back anytime soon, Hila quietly exited the room as well. Located in Kingpin's building, Kingpin was unable to comprehend and struggled to decipher the unique identity that Naruto possessed. This situation was quite uncomfortable. He held a position of power as the ruler of the underworld. When had he ever felt so uncertain? He was unaware of the identity of his opponent, which was unfortunate for an individual who preferred to have complete control over every situation. And he couldn't understand why Kingpin felt such a deep sense of unease. It was as if a looming disaster was on the horizon. Kingpin felt uneasy about the situation. He took action by assembling a team of skilled assassins to ensure his safety, which brought him a sense of relief. Then a woman in a black dress entered the scene. Kingpin was also observing the surveillance footage. The woman effortlessly eliminated his men, who were completely defenseless. Who is this woman, and what compelled her to abruptly enter and harm my people? Even if someone allowed Kingpin to break his head, he couldn't believe he had encountered such an unpleasant woman. The assassins under his command were highly trained professionals, with a level of skill that rivaled that of military special forces. However, under the guidance of this formidable woman, they appeared vulnerable, fragile, and pitiful. It was evident that the woman who unexpectedly infiltrated Kingpin's mansion was Gila. With the knowledge gained from the souls of these assassins, Gila swiftly discovered the presence of Kingpin and wasted no time in making her way to his doorstep. This was Hela's demeanor. Gila, who exuded an air of superiority but was easily subdued in Naruto's presence, only displayed this facade when around him. Gila was a formidable deity, known for her ability to bring death and destruction to the universe. In a powerful display, Gila forcefully kicked open the door to Kingpin's office. Unfortunately, all of Kingpin's subordinates had met their demise. Due to Hela's sudden arrival, Kingpin found himself trapped without any opportunity to flee. Gila effectively blocked his escape route. It appears that you are Kingpin. Upon entering the room, Gila immediately identified the individual before her as the adversary she had been seeking, a large, bald man. Then, a formidable weapon materialized in her grasp, ready to bring an end to Kingpin's life. "Excuse me, may I inquire about the reason?" Kingpin sensed the looming danger of death, but he refused to passively await his demise. Instead, he proactively sought out a means to ensure his own survival. To ensure your survival, it is crucial to comprehend the motives behind Hela's hostility towards you. Only through this understanding can you hope to reconcile your differences. I am Gila, the wife of Naruto. Gila did not immediately kill him, but instead took the time to explain the situation. The purpose of this action was to ensure that Kingpin met his demise once he discovered the identity of his killer. Kingpin was about to continue speaking when Hela's sword of the night sky suddenly descended, impaling his formidable and resilient body. Gila was focused on efficiently completing her tasks. She prioritized returning to rest after resolving the problem. She remained injured. Breaking Odin's seal proved to be quite challenging. The unfortunate underworld emperor, Kingpin, meets his demise at the hands of Gila without even a chance to plead for mercy. The exact circumstances surrounding his death remain shrouded in mystery. After completing her tasks, Gila swiftly left the room, disappearing in an instant. After a considerable duration, a mechanical noise resonated throughout the vicinity. A concealed compartment within the premises revealed its contents, as a collection of individuals equipped with formidable weaponry emerged from the hidden chamber. The most recent individual to emerge was a gentleman who possessed a bald head, a robust physique, and stood at an impressive height of 2 meters. He was a highly skilled individual. He had been concealing himself in a hidden chamber. The individual who was eliminated by Gila earlier was merely a decoy he had placed in the spotlight. "Boss, the woman has left. We are currently secure for the time being." An imposing man with a shaved head approached Kingpin and addressed him. This individual was Kingpin's top assassin, known as Bullseye, a highly skilled and merciless operative. "All right, let's switch positions," Kingpin informed him with a stern expression. The events of today left Kingpin feeling quite distressed. Due to the actions of one Naruto, he found himself facing threats from the Shield Bureau and narrowly escaping death at the hands of a formidable woman. Had he been aware of this earlier, he would have refrained from taking any action against Naruto. And what was Naruto's identity in the end? The impact of this revelation was immense. Once more, it was Shield causing trouble, and yet another mysterious woman who left him completely in the dark. He couldn't help but wonder if there would be any encounters with Superman or extraterrestrial beings in the days to come. This was completely unacceptable. However, Kingpin's means and methods as an underworld emperor were still acceptable. Given the confirmation that Naruto is someone not worth provoking, it would be wise to avoid provoking him. He had a strong need to avoid confrontation, but was unable to find a way to escape it. Naruto was unaware of Hella's actions. Hela should lie down on the bed and go back to sleep, according to Naruto's perspective. During this time, he was participating in an autograph meeting at a prestigious university in the renowned Ivy League. Being widely recognized as a highly acclaimed author in recent years, Naruto continues to enjoy immense popularity. A professional autograph event drew a crowd of college students and dedicated fans of Naruto's books, some of whom traveled from other cities just to have their books signed by Naruto. This was a genuine display of fan appreciation. Naruto maintained a friendly attitude towards these leaks who were willing to pay for his novels. He graciously autographed the books of fans who patiently waited in line, adding a heartfelt message. "Hello, Mr. Naruto. I am a devoted admirer of your books, and I particularly enjoy your work, Star Trek. Can you please sign me?" A stunning girl with wine-red hair stood before Naruto. The facial features had a pleasant and charming natural appeal. She intensified Naruto's feeling of oppression even further. Without a doubt, this young woman was incredibly impressive, and she had a commanding presence. Hers were not small, but they were simply not as impressive as the ones in front of him. However, Naruto merely glanced at it and lost interest. "My spouse is incredibly talented. Hello, ma'am, what would you like me to write?" Naruto inquired with a warm smile to the lovely girl standing before him. "Thank you for your generosity, let me think about writing something." "Well, simply write, 'I hope that you will always radiate beauty, my dear Ms. Natasha.' That's all." Natasha, a young woman, smiled as she handed Naruto the book she was holding, titled, Star Trek. Naruto kept Natasha's identity a secret, efficiently wrote down the blessings, and promptly handed the book back to her. At this moment, Natasha was still unaware. She discovered that her identity had been revealed. She was contemplating the best approach to prepare for the upcoming encounter in order to establish a connection with Naruto. As an agent, understanding the psychology of men and utilizing it strategically was an essential part of training for every female agent. That's unfortunate. Naruto's heart remained calm and serene. Except for his wife, Hela, no other woman could entice him. Natasha's calculations were destined for failure right from the start. In addition, I wonder how famished Naruto would have to be before visiting Natasha. The highly skilled operative known as the Black Widow was unaware of the number of individuals present at the location. Hela stood out from the rest. Her genuine emotions resembled an empty canvas, belonging to Naruto. The purity of the two was vastly different. After Natasha departed, Naruto remained at the signing party for an additional 2 hours, diligently autographing the books. Thanks to Naruto's exceptional physique, which now far surpasses that of ordinary individuals, he is able to continue without needing to take a break. Shortly after, the signing event concluded with great success, and the clock struck noon. It is logical for Naruto to return home now and make lunch for his wife, Hela. However, Naruto had other matters to attend to, so he had no intention of returning just yet. Kingpin. Naruto pondered deeply. Naruto was determined to hold onto the person who had provoked him. An eye for an eye, a life for a life. This was the code of conduct adhered to by Naruto. Little did Kingpin know that his troubles were far from over. Currently, Kingpin remained concealed in an underground warehouse alongside his loyal henchmen. This warehouse was constructed by an individual with a notable reputation, and it served as a storage facility for their personal belongings. Featuring billions of dollars in cash, along with 10 tons of gold and a wide array of jewelry. Given the substantial wealth, one can only imagine the formidable defense force of this location. A steel plate was professionally installed on the surrounding walls. The steel plate was exceptionally thick, measuring close to 2 meters, making it impervious to even the most powerful missiles. Furthermore, a large number of highly skilled individuals armed with powerful weapons were assigned to protect them, ensuring their safety at all times. Despite being in this location, Kingpin still lacked a feeling of safety. Bullseye, Have you reached out to the individual you previously connected with? Kingpin inquired of his top assassin. Bullseye was a highly skilled individual who possessed extraordinary abilities. He was acquainted with numerous mutants who possessed extraordinary abilities. Following the demise of his doppelganger at the hands of Gila, Kingpin took immediate action to assemble a team of mutants as a protective force for his own safety. Rest assured, they will arrive shortly, boss. Bullseye said in a composed manner. Contrary to Kingpin, who displayed fear, Bullseye remained fearless. Despite Hela's formidable strength, Bullseye believed he had the ability to confront and challenge her. At what point in time did you employ this outdated approach? Did you know that guns are considered the dominant force in this era? In his analysis, Bullseye found that Hela's attack method was not as effective as firearms, leading him to believe that he had the upper hand. It would be advisable to request their prompt presence here. I always have a sense that there is more to come. Kingpin stated confidently as he puffed on his cigar. He was experiencing a sense of insecurity. Based on Kingpin's appearance, it is clear that many people would perceive him as a courageous individual. This turned out to be an illusion. They were misled by the Kingpin's physique. He displayed courage, yet he was far from being a foolish individual. Otherwise, he managed to maintain his control over the underworld for more than a decade. If he lacked intelligence, he would have been swiftly eliminated a long time ago. Boss, you seem to be overly cautious. Why don't you provide me with a substantial amount, and I can assist you in resolving the situation with that individual? Bullseye stood out among Kingpin's other men. He didn't hold him in high regard. In all honesty, the dynamic between Bullseye and Kingpin can only be described as a mutually beneficial partnership rather than a traditional hierarchy. I have no issue if you have a desire to end your life, but please refrain from including me in your plans. She is quite challenging to deal with. Kingpin stared intensely at Bullseye and seethed with anger. How have individuals such as him managed to survive until this point? As the Bullseye observed Kingpin's lack of confidence and carefulness, Kingpin, in turn, disdained Bullseye's reckless approach. When it came to determining who was more powerful, it was clear to everyone who held the upper hand. Boom! During Kingpin's conversation with Bullseye, a sudden loud noise disrupted the atmosphere, causing unease among everyone present. What seems to be the issue? What on earth happened? Kingpin promptly rose from his chair and inquired of the nearby subordinates. He had become a timid bird, easily startled by the slightest breeze or rustling grass. Not to mention such a significant movement. There appears to be an issue with the wall. One of the Kingpin's subordinates expressed their frustration. Rest assured, these walls are constructed with 2-meter-thick steel plates, making them impervious to even the most powerful missiles. Bullseye remained composed and unwavering. He had no concerns about the wall being penetrated. However, even the Bullseye couldn't maintain its composure for long. Due to the loud noise that resounded once more, it emanated from the wall situated to the right of everyone. And in contrast to previous occasions, this time, the wall's noticeable bulge was accompanied by a resounding noise. This indicated that the wall, which was reinforced with steel plates measuring 2 meters in thickness, was being penetrated with force. Oh no, darn it! What is this? Kingpin had a complete breakdown, expressing his frustration through a series of expletives to release some of the inner tension he was feeling. Boss, I completely agree with you. We really impressed someone important. Bullseye also had a more serious expression at this time, lacking the self-assurance it had previously. Despite the Bullseye's confidence, it seemed unlikely that it could break through a steel plate that was 2 meters thick. This was not within the realm of human capability. Kingpin then gave Bullseye a serious look, leaving the decision in his hands. Boom! Once more, the resounding echo of the third impact filled the air. This time, the wall's protrusion was more apparent. The entire wall suddenly bulged up with a loud noise, giving the impression that something powerful could potentially burst through at any moment. Be ready for anything that may come later, and take immediate action. Despite feeling flustered, Kingpin maintained his composure and confidently directed his men. Regarding Kingpin, he had discreetly positioned himself behind everyone. He was prepared to leave at a moment's notice if the circumstances were unfavorable. Boom! A loud crash reverberated through the air as a sturdy wall was forcefully ripped apart. The opening was too small to allow a person to pass through. However, it was still quite frightening. Boom! The final impact reverberated once more. Once again, the entire wall suffered a significant impact, resulting in a substantial hole. Then a well-dressed gentleman entered the room. Clearly, this individual was Naruto. Naruto's body template, courtesy of General Zod, granted him the physique of a Kryptonian. This allowed him to harness the power of the yellow sun and develop superhuman hearing abilities. It was through his exceptional hearing abilities that Naruto discovered the hidden warehouse of Kingpin. Then Naruto arrived at the door and effortlessly punched through the incredibly thick steel plate using only his bare hands. Fire. Upon Naruto's arrival, Kingpin was taken aback. There was an individual in front of him, but their actions were far from ordinary. Is it possible for regular individuals to penetrate a steel plate that is 2 meters thick? Kingpin wasted no time in ordering his subordinates to open fire, relying on the power of technology to confront the looming monster. In the face of such formidable firepower, Naruto did not attempt to avoid it. He didn't even close his eyes. Using firearms to handle Kryptonians can be considered effective and quite creative. Even the most vulnerable eyes are impervious to any form of human firearms or other body parts. Naruto embraced the onslaught of firepower, feeling it cascade upon him like a gentle shower. Then, in front of everyone, Naruto bravely confronted the metal storm and began to take the lives of everyone present. The human body is no match for the power and strength of the Kryptonians, appearing feeble and vulnerable. Witnessing Naruto's brutal rampage, Kingpin was filled with overwhelming fear and distress. He was unsure how to handle such a formidable creature. Let's go. Kingpin made a smart decision to strategically withdraw, but unfortunately Naruto didn't allow him the same chance. After swiftly neutralizing everyone in his path, Naruto confronted Kingpin, effectively obstructing his progress. Unfortunately, Bullseye's neck had already been twisted by Naruto. "Excuse me, may we please have a moment to sit down and discuss?" It's simply irresistible, and Kingpin didn't even consider resisting. Such a humanoid creature, who could resist? Still, have a decent conversation and see if we can fight for a respectful manner of dying. Okay, how do you want to talk? Naruto didn't care either. Faced with an extreme power differential, he was not worried of Kingpin pulling any tricks. You are Mr. Naruto, correct? I've seen your image. For the past, I apologize to you. This was not my aim. One of my subordinates made a stupid decision. He is dead, and now in the dog's belly, he had to pay for the mistakes he made. Can you let me go? I promise I haven't considered how to deal with you. When faced with the possibility of death, Kingpin did not have the same sense of humor as he had before. It seemed as if a child had done something terrible and was attempting to justify his actions. Really? Then what? Naruto still scoffed, but his heart remained untouched. If Kingpin couldn't provide a convincing reason, he'd die today. Chopping the grass but without destroying the roots allows the grass to regrow when the spring wind blows. Naruto recognized this fact. Kingpin took a long breath, pushed himself to relax, and said, "Well, even if you kill me, what can you get? You can only expect a chaotic New York City before the new underworld ruler provokes you. After all, your worth is quite extraordinary. If you let me go, you will become my master in the future. I vow that such events will not occur again. No one will bother you or your wife. Do you think this is okay?" Kingpin realized that he couldn't survive until Naruto forgave him. Naruto was unable to forgive him. So, rather than appealing for compassion, he sought to demonstrate his own worth. Naruto's chances of survival would be significantly increased if he believed he might still be helpful. The facts have shown that Kingpin's decision was not incorrect. Naruto reflected about the scene after Kingpin's death and realized that what he said made complete sense. The death of Kingpin, the current underworld emperor, will undoubtedly cause turmoil in New York City's underworld. When the underworld's zealots were not constrained by the norms, unrest was inevitable. Naruto was not terrified of these underworld enthusiasts, but it was still a problem. Naruto did not meant to kill Kingpin just now. You are incredibly intelligent. You have effectively persuaded me. I hope you remember what you said today, and don't bother me again. Otherwise, the next time, I will unscrew your skull and do what I say. Don't be concerned if I can locate you. You can't leave the planet as long as you're alive. It was a clear threat that may be interpreted as a warning to Kingpin. Whether Kingpin believed it or not was entirely up to him. If he didn't believe it, Naruto would carry out his previous threat to unscrew his head. Why couldn't Kingpin believe it? You had already pierced 2 meters of steel plate. How could he refuse to believe it? Kingpin could not think his physique was as strong as steel. After learning that Naruto was prepared to give himself another opportunity, Kingpin almost fainted with relief at escaping the calamity. At the same time, he resolved that even if he committed suicide, he would never offend Naruto or his wife. Not only that, but Kingpin intended to send a big number of people to lurch near Naruto's home. This killer will not be upset by persons with short vision. It may be argued that when Naruto left Kingpin alive, he not only accomplished his mission, but also spared himself from numerous potential problems in the future. With Kingpin's assistance, at least some of the people who couldn't make it to the table were unlikely to pose problems for Naruto. Before Naruto arrived, he would toss the thugs who intended to abduct him into a blender and feed them to the dogs. After settling Kingpin's dilemma, Naruto exited the basement warehouse. Before departing, Naruto removed a set of Kingpin's clothing. Naruto was unscathed in the last metal storm, but his garments were blown to bits. This was the cost of pretending. Kingpin was happy when he realized the murderous god had finally departed. He sat on the ground, gasping. It was too terrifying. Facing a monster like Naruto was terrifying. Kingpin was also regarded as a brave monster, but when confronted with such a monster, he became terrified. Being an ordinary person, there was the risk of being terrified to death. Fortunately, he survived his short life. After a long period, Kingpin calmed down, and the grandeur of the underworld monarch returned to him. He was about to call his warriors and issue a significant command. In the future, in New York City, anybody who dared to oppose Naruto would be his adversary. Why did you come back so late today? Naruto returned to his manor after sunset. Hila was awake and complained to Naruto. She resembled a woman who grumbled about her husband arriving home too late. After the signing event was over, I had another meal with the publisher, which wasted time. Naruto made a white lie. He didn't want Hila to worry too much. As a male, you should not bring the ups and downs of the outside world inside your house, much less cause your wife to worry about you. Hila did not think too much. It was just a normal query. She wasn't too concerned about Naruto's safety now that he had the artifact ring she had created and the culprit Kingpin had fallen. I'd want to ask you a question. What would you do if you discovered that I was not the person you knew? Hila posed such a stupid question, which bewildered Naruto. But glancing at Hela's eager and disturbed eyes, Naruto's heart melted. Fool, I like you just as you are. I will still like you regardless of how you are. Naruto approached Hila, caressed her hair, and murmured with a grin. This personal motion made Hila flush once again. She was still unused to such personal acts. But she did not object. She simply felt bashful. If one day you find out that I am a bad person, would you still like me? Hila ignored Naruto's sloppy hands on her head, instead looking into Naruto's eyes and asking another inquiry. Naruto didn't immediately respond. He had a hazy feeling that today's Hila was different. He was unable to state anything concretely. He just sensed that she was thinking about something. Naruto moved his sloppy hands away from Hela's head and gripped her waist. You're my wife. Even if you're a horrible person, you will always remain my wife. Whatever you become, I will adore you. Naruto quietly spoke into Hela's ear. The inhaled heat blew over Hela's earlobe, causing it to seem brilliant red to the human sight. I hate it, Hila battled metaphorically, but eventually closed her eyes and let Naruto do whatever he wanted. It was too late today to allow Hila to rest first. Sky Mothership, Shield. Natasha resumed her gorgeous look and removed the girl's face from Naruto's view. She swiftly entered Nick Fury's office and began reporting. During the initial contact with the target, there was little progress. I'm not his dish. Natasha was obviously referring to Naruto. When Natasha tried to contact Naruto, she inevitably obtained information from Nick Fury. Otherwise, she'd have no idea who Naruto was. This is typical. The research revealed that Naruto and his wife had a really excellent connection. They make an excellent couple. Nick Fury said boldly, unsurprised by Natasha's initial encounter. Before approaching Naruto, Nick Fury had to do an investigation. Hila, Naruto's wife, would surely not be left out. What puzzled Nick Fury was his inability to locate any information on Gila. He just recently discovered that roughly a year ago, Gila appeared next to Naruto, seemingly out of nowhere. This prompted Nick Fury to ponder further about Hela's identity. Was it truly a chance that she met Naruto, or did someone from another organization position her next to him? The former was okay, but the latter, Nick Fury, should take it seriously. So, why didn't Coulson do this thing? You needed to locate me. Do you want me to harm the target's relationship with his wife? I don't remember that Shield is also responsible for the divorce. Natasha spat out. She still didn't comprehend Nick Fury's thinking when he ordered her to contact Naruto. Nick Fury almost choked when he heard Natasha's complaints. This was quite humiliating. But what Natasha stated was correct. He considered letting Natasha seduce Naruto, and it was ideal if Naruto was inseparable from Natasha. Compared to the lady, Gila, whose facts were unclear, Naruto's wife should undoubtedly be Natasha, whose information was well known. It was also more consistent with Shield's goals. Of course, Nick Fury couldn't pull off anything like this either. Everything rested on Natasha's thinking. As for Gila, Nick Fury would want to contact her to have a closer look. After handling Kingpin's business, Naruto's life returned to normal. I flirt with Gila every day. He was able to pursue his interests while still living comfortably. In addition, at this time, Naruto's sign-in system provided some unusual prizes. The talent of the talker. Lucis Heart of the Sea. The Scepter of the Last Pharaoh. Encyclopedia of Black Magic. A complete mastery of classical music. Not all of these strange awards were pointless, such as the Black Magic Encyclopedia. The trouble was that Naruto couldn't use it just now. Simply stated, it wasn't practical enough. Naruto found it tasteless. As a result, he utilized it to mask his true identity. It was worth noting that the narrative for Iron Man 1-inch had previously occurred during this time period. Tony Stark had become Iron Man and had confessed it in front of the world's media. Unlike previous superheroes, Tony Stark didn't conceal his identity. He was arrogant and pompous, ready to face any challenge without fear. This sense of serenity and duty may have contributed to Iron Man's popularity among the general people. Naruto admired Tony Stark regardless. At the very least, he was honest. Taking advantage of the earlier decrease in Stark Industries stock, Naruto purchased a significant number of Stark Industries stock shares at a very cheap price. Naruto had just become a stakeholder in Stark Industries, owning 1.7% of the company's stock. The yearly profits from the shares were a vast fortune, allowing Naruto to live a luxury life without worry. Naruto will no longer have to run around for his livelihood. It was acceptable to lay down and devour dividends of shares. Gila didn't care much about this. She had absolutely no notion of money. Gila was more concerned about Naruto's generosity than his money. Are you going out again later? At the supper table, Gila, who was sipping the gruel, grabbed the tie from Naruto. Naruto gave a nod. Yes, Tony Stark invited all shareholders to a party, and I also want to go. Wife, will you go with me? Hearing this, Gila grimaced and shook her head. I will not go. I dislike crowded events. She was now a fugitive in a way. So, understandably, she disliked showing her face outdoors. As Asgard's fugitive, this was perfectly acceptable. Well, I will go by myself. You may relax at home or do some exercise. If you want to go on a stroll, be sure to have a bodyguard. Don't make me worried. Naruto questioned Gila attentively. With Gila, Naruto never considered locking her. Such a thing was unrealistic. If Gila wanted to go for a stroll, Naruto was content to keep things simple, as long as she brought security to assure her safety. Gila had never been out and has known Naruto for a year. They both spent practically all of their time at home and seldom went for walks. She was an otaku, at least in front of Naruto. Gila was overjoyed after hearing Naruto's worries. It is very problematic. I can care for myself. Hela's previous Tsunere dilemma was repeated, but the smirk on the corner of her lips could not be disguised. Naruto had also become used to Hela's deception and had not disclosed it. After a brief kiss on Hela's forehead, he departed the mansion. After Naruto departed, Gila approached to the window and peered in one direction, somewhat frowning with her good-looking brows. The destroyer, did it come for me? Hela whispered. Hela was no stranger to Odin's armor, which had followed him in battle for many years. And when the destroyer unexpectedly appeared in Midgard, Hela couldn't help but pay notice. She quietly broke through Odin's seal. Who knew whether Odin would return to get her and lock her up again? Hela's cheerful attitude from the morning faded when she remembered that dreadful old guy Odin. She liked her present life very much. She adored being careless around Naruto. Every day, she just had to worry about what Naruto would make for her to eat and how Naruto would molest her. Hela had never imagined herself living a life like this. Hela instinctively enjoyed the sense of being appreciated by people. From Hela's perspective, Asgard's status as king of the gods meant nothing. It wasn't as significant as it had been with Naruto. Even if Hela said that she was uninterested in Asgard, who would believe her? Even if she really believed so, Odin would never let her go. Hela could see that she would still have to confront Asgard and Odin one day in the future. This was her fate, and she couldn't escape. At the moment, Hela had no clue whether she could be with Naruto. Odin, you have ruined me once, you can't ruin me again. Hela wondered in her heart whether Odin really intended to harm her present pleasant existence. Then Hela promised to make Odin pay the price of blood. Loki had authority of the destroyer armor in New Mexico. He was seeking Thor. Although Loki was unable to kill Thor owing to Odin's commands, he still liked the game of hunting Thor. Run, little Thor, run faster. Your embarrassed expression is pretty amusing. As Thor's brother, Loki had had enough of his hubris. He generally suffered since his strength was weaker than Thor's. He could only suffer all of the time. Now that Thor had not regained his extraordinary abilities, it was natural to take advantage of the chance to harass him. Furthermore, Loki essentially had a black tummy. Aside from tormenting Thor, Loki had a larger mission this time. The sister from Father's mouth, will she really show up? Loki utilized his destroyer armor to arrive on Earth this time. Besides sharpening Thor, the most crucial mission was to find Hela. Odin was not devastated that Hela had escaped the seal. At the same time, Odin recognized Hela will return to Asgard someday. Instead of waiting for Hela to locate the door herself, it was preferable to take the initiative and coax her to come out on her own. If Hela had not appeared after feeling the destroyer's armor, Odin's aim would have been accomplished. At the time, Odin would take the initiative, whether it was to reseal Hela or return her to Asgard. Of course, this was not good news for Loki. Damn, there is a sister on my head. These were Loki's innermost thoughts. As the family's second kid, he was already sad, but he had no idea he was the third. After gaining insight into Hela's actions from Odin himself, Loki's fear of his sister, the goddess of death, intensified. I hope Hela doesn't hinder his path to becoming the ruler of Asgard. Naruto was unaware of the events that unfolded in the storyline of Thor 1. During that moment, he found himself in an elegant auditorium, engaging in pleasant conversations with the attendees. Naruto was quite accustomed to this type of sophisticated wine gathering. Throughout his rise to fame as a copy author, he actively participated in numerous wine parties of a similar nature. Indeed, Naruto had achieved great success in his endeavors. Being a billionaire with substantial wealth, he had gained entry into the realm of celebrities. The mutants have returned once more. Their persistence is truly remarkable. What a stroke of bad luck. I wonder what the organizer is doing. When will mutants be allowed to attend such events? I often have concerns about the possibility of waking up one day to find that mutants have taken over the entire world. This is a group of individuals who pose a significant threat. It is imperative that the authorities in the city take immediate action to apprehend them. Never mind, let's switch spots. I don't want these subpar individuals to dampen my positive attitude today. Observing the discussions of these affluent individuals in his vicinity, Naruto discerned the imminent arrival of a prominent figure. Indeed, before long, a woman in a vibrant red dress entered, guiding an elderly gentleman who was seated in a wheelchair. Jean Grey, dressed in red, was a teacher at Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters. Undoubtedly, not many individuals are familiar with her given name, but it is expected that a majority of people are acquainted with her moniker. The renowned Black Phoenix, a distinguished host of the cosmic entity, Phoenix. It was evident who the bald individual in the wheelchair was. The founder of X-Men is Charles Xavier, who who is also known as Professor X. A highly skilled individual with exceptional psychic abilities, capable of effortlessly delving into the thoughts of almost anyone. I don't understand why. These people don't welcome us, so why should we come here? While urging Professor X to move ahead, Jean Grey voiced her grievances to him. Mutants face discrimination and lack of respect in today's society. Given the circumstances, what would motivate a professional to attend this banquet and subject themselves to potential insults from others? Jean, I understand that some individuals may hold a negative opinion of us, but we should not concern ourselves with their judgments. Everyone who is invited to such a banquet holds significant sway in society. We simply require the assistance of a reliable individual to aid us in our present circumstances. Professor X calmly explained to Jean. Was he aware of the opinions held by these self-proclaimed celebrities? If he had the opportunity, he was not inclined to endure the disapproval of others. However, the current state of mutants was quite dire. In society, not only did regular individuals display hostility towards mutants. Even within the US government, there were individuals with malicious intentions towards mutant groups. He had to come over and connect with as many friends for mutants as possible, or people who sympathized with mutants. By adopting this approach, he could enhance his ability to safeguard mutants. After hearing Professor X's lecture, Jean quietly closed her mouth and ceased speaking. She was well aware of the plight of mutants, and the outlook was far from promising. Especially given the recent incident involving Magneto's attempt to transform high-level federal politicians into mutants. The public's resistance against mutants reached its highest point. The plot in X-Men 1. Out of nowhere, Professor X's eyes sparkled with excitement as he called Jean to come over and stand in front of Naruto. Hello, Mr. Naruto. I'm Charles Xavier. Feel free to call me Charles. I really enjoyed reading your book, Alien E.T. It brought back memories of my childhood dream to befriend extraterrestrial beings. It would be beneficial if society had more individuals like Mr. Naruto. When encountering beings that are different from themselves, humans should strive to be more tolerant and compassionate, rather than harboring ill intentions. Professor X expertly conveyed the message of comparing mutants to Alien E.T., with the hope that mutants and Alien E.T. would foster friendship instead of enmity with humans. Considering the outstretched hand offered by Professor X, Naruto pondered for a moment before deciding to shake it. You are correct, I am honored to have such a dedicated reader. When I wrote Alien E.T., I also considered the situation of mutants. I hope it can be of assistance. Naruto graciously accepted the kindness extended by Professor X, the esteemed leader. Despite the slim chance of future socialization, it is not appropriate to physically harm someone, regardless of their demeanor. When he grasped Professor X's right hand, Naruto's expression underwent a dramatic and unsettling transformation. Please leave my mind. The unexpectedly grumpy tone of Naruto caught the attention of numerous individuals. This caused Professor X to become visibly alarmed. Observing Naruto's intense anger, Professor X found himself perplexed and filled with remorse. At the very instant of their handshake, Professor X instinctively intended to delve into Naruto's thoughts. Be cautious about assuming Professor X's ethics are impeccable. It is evident that he has previous experience in this matter. It's just that his subtle movements went unnoticed by most people. Naruto had a unique quality about him. Upon their handshake, he experienced a sharp sensation in his mind. He quickly recognized that Professor X was responsible. So the scene just unfolded. It's worth noting that Professor X harbored no ill intentions towards Naruto. Invading Naruto's thoughts was simply a subconscious habit. However, Naruto managed to apprehend him and disarm him. Is this the way you handle your relationships? Is this how individuals with special abilities interact with ordinary people? Naruto glared intensely at the flustered Professor X standing before him. His eyes were filled with intense anger. Naruto was a person with a significant secret. His status as a skilled traverser with a well-established system remained a closely guarded secret. However, the individual in question attempted to clandestinely gather information on these secrets. Wow, Naruto was incredibly frustrated with Professor X. This individual had crossed a boundary that was unacceptable. Professor X also recognized the severity of the situation. He demonstrated complete accountability for this matter. If Naruto were to reveal this incident, it would undoubtedly have a profound impact on the mutant's circumstances. And there was another issue that Professor X couldn't solve. How did Naruto anticipate his movements? Could Naruto be more than just an ordinary person like them? Professor X was unable to comprehend the question and did not have the luxury of time to ponder over it. He had a more pressing issue at hand, finding a way to calm down the enraged Naruto. I deeply regret my mistake, my friend. I take full responsibility for this matter and offer you my sincere apology. I assure you, I did not witness anything. I sincerely hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me on this occasion. Professor X expressed his apologies to Naruto with a somber expression. But Naruto didn't eat this food at all. Did he apologize for revealing this issue? Naruto detected Professor X's intrusion. Would he apologize if he didn't sense it? You will face consequences for your actions today. I assure you. Due to the presence of witnesses, Naruto's current actions were limited. However, this matter would not be ignored. Naruto was determined that Professor X would face the consequences of his actions, and no divine intervention could save him. Upon entering the Marvel world, Naruto quickly realized the inherent darkness that permeated this realm. Trust was a rare commodity, even among superheroes. However, Naruto was taken aback when Professor X, a highly respected and widely known professor, unexpectedly behaved in such a manner in front of others. Mutants have a significant impact on the current social situation. The majority of individuals had a negative opinion of them. Mutants faced numerous challenges. Through harnessing the extraordinary abilities bestowed by the X gene, it was common for mutants to view themselves as superior to regular humans. After that, they start to engage in excessive activities. This is evident in Professor X. Even though Professor X was highly respected, he exhibited similar behavior. Therefore, one can envision the behavior of other mutants. And there was a saying, if someone was a politician, shouldn't they try to master such a powerful group of mutants first? An exceptional weapon. You immediately focused on becoming an expert in it. If one is unable to master something, they may contemplate getting rid of it. Who would be hostile to mutants from the beginning? Wasn't today's situation caused by the mutants themselves? Their excessive self-importance is what caused the current situation. In my professional opinion, the mutants were deserving of the outcome. They portrayed themselves as they currently were. It was unnecessary to deny that certain mutants were victims and innocent. However, Professor X was definitely not among these innocent mutants. Initially, Naruto had aspirations of forming a friendship. In order to seek assistance in resolving the issues caused by certain mutants, he planned to approach Professor X. Following this incident, a spectral entity would form a companionship. In the future, if there were individuals who dared to provoke him, he would eliminate them without hesitation. Naruto would never spare their lives. If it weren't for the crowd, Naruto would refuse to let Professor X leave. Bravely desiring to uncover the mysteries of his heart, death was not a tragedy. Observing the enraged Naruto, Professor X's embarrassment became evident on his face. He was hoping to avoid this kind of situation. It's surprising how this situation unfolded simply from attempting to access Naruto's memory. However, the grievances had been addressed. Despite Professor X's willingness to rectify his error, he could only discover a solution to salvage the situation. There was, indeed, an alternative option, allowing Naruto to perish. Once Naruto passed away, this type of grievance would naturally fade away. Despite the plan, Professor X remained silent in the end. He observed as Naruto entered the crowd. He was expected to deliver crucial information to Naruto, but he was unable to disclose it at the moment. Excuse me, but are you perhaps overdoing it? Behind Professor X, Jean looked concerned. Jean was unable to witness Professor X's previous action. It may be considered somewhat inappropriate, but it is also necessary. I have great admiration for Mr. Naruto and I am eager to collaborate with him. I am curious to gain insight into his genuine opinions regarding the group of mutants. I didn't intend for things to turn out this way. Professor X let out a frustrated sigh as he expressed his disappointment with how his plan for today had been disrupted. Initially, Professor X intended to make a favorable impression on Naruto before assessing his genuine opinions about the mutant group. If he had the necessary qualifications, Professor X would inform Naruto about his recent encounter with Magneto's mutant group, the Brotherhood. It would be more advantageous if Naruto found himself in a challenging situation and became overwhelmed. In order for Professor X to emerge as a hero, he could approach Naruto and assure him that he has the ability to handle Magneto and the Brotherhood. Then establish a strong presence in Naruto's heart. Currently, Naruto's considerable wealth and extensive social standing would prove invaluable to mutants. It's unfortunate that despite the plan's quality, something went awry in the end. If Naruto had insight into Professor X's inner thoughts, it would likely challenge his perception of the renowned superhero once more. However, this was quite reasonable. Indeed, this was the authentic Marvel Universe. The initial encounter with mutants was clearly unsuccessful. Naruto was deeply engrossed in Professor X's affairs, completely unaware that another powerful mutant leader had set their sights on him. At this time, Naruto was engaged in a conversation with Tony Stark. "Ah, Mr. Naruto, I'm familiar with your name. I must confess, I am a devoted fan of yours and would be honored if you could sign a book for me later." Tony Stark had shed his previous air of arrogance when facing the public. Surprisingly, Naruto was taken aback when he saw that he appeared more like a dedicated fan rather than an arrogant playboy. This was a typical occurrence. Tony was an avid tech enthusiast, but that didn't mean he didn't appreciate a good novel. There was a similarity between Naruto and Tony in their nature. They were both incredibly talented. One excelled in the field of literature, while the other demonstrated exceptional talent in technology. The self-proclaimed hero held the hero dear. That's most likely what it was. Certainly, I have consistently shown respect for book enthusiasts. Additionally, your company's stock has proven to be quite lucrative for me. Naruto also smiled and raised his glass to toast with Tony. He appreciated Tony's kindness. Ultimately, Naruto's financial assets were tied to Stark Industries, and he eagerly anticipated future dividends from Tony. Building relationships with respectable individuals was a delightful experience in its own right. After some further discussions, the two individuals exchanged contact information and made plans to hang out together when their schedules allowed. Afterwards, Tony pursued a lovely young woman and departed in front of Naruto. Naruto glanced at the watch on his wrist and noticed that it was getting late, prompting him to make plans to depart. At this time, the young woman Natasha, whom he had met, suddenly appeared in front of Naruto. "Hello there, it's nice to see you again. Would you like me to get you a drink?" Natasha displayed a captivating smile, while effortlessly lowering her collar, revealing a stunning view of her pristine surroundings. This temptation proved to be completely ineffective on Naruto, despite its fatal allure for ordinary individuals. Contrary to expectations, Naruto was thoroughly disgusted. He initially intended to collaborate with Cheel, but now he has completely run out of patience and is planning to confront them. "Miss Natasha, please refrain from using any deceptive tactics. Please inform the Shield Bureau supporting you that any further attempts at deception may result in me taking drastic measures." After finishing speaking, despite Natasha's stoic expression, he turned and departed from the event. It would be unwise for Naruto to not comprehend Natasha's two random encounters anymore. Nick Fury, the cunning individual, clearly had intentions to play tricks on Naruto. Naruto, naturally, proved to be elusive, but determining Hela's whereabouts proved to be a challenge. If it came to Hela's attention and was misinterpreted, that was the true problem. To resolve this situation, Naruto didn't consider speaking with Natasha. He departed from the scene. He didn't let his hunger and thirst prevent him from walking, even if he spotted a woman. If there was a wife with Hela's qualities in the family, would you still be interested in someone like Natasha? Watching Naruto leave without revealing his face, Natasha felt deeply disappointed, questioning if her allure had somehow diminished. However, this was satisfactory. She was tired of selling meat to reach her goal. Natasha did value Naruto, but her appreciation was solely based on Naruto's unwavering loyalty to Hela. Indeed, Naruto was not her food either. Congratulations on signing in successfully. You have been rewarded with a +1 resurrection coin. Upon waking up in the morning, the first thing I noticed was that the sign-in reward provided by the system had arrived. Resurrection coin. Naruto was a bit perplexed. Is it possible to still access this type of feature upon signing in? However, it must be acknowledged that the resurrection coin was indeed a positive development. This was like giving Naruto an opportunity to accept mistakes. Adding extra insurance gave Naruto a boost of confidence for his future. Shortly after, Naruto rose from his slumber and made his way downstairs to the kitchen, ready to whip up a delicious breakfast. Shortly after Naruto's departure, Hella's eyes fluttered open as she turned her gaze towards the direction he had gone. Hella's gaze shifted, and her thoughts became uncertain. Naruto, what are you keeping concealed from me? Hela pondered silently. Indeed, Hela had come to the realization that Naruto was quite extraordinary during this particular time. Naruto's physical prowess was steadily increasing, evident to Hela. Hela was convinced that Naruto had withheld information from her. However, Hela herself was not much better. Didn't she conceal her identity from Naruto? Thinking of this, Hela had a headache. She initially aimed to confront Naruto, but she always hesitated whenever a situation arose. Because she lacked the courage. She was concerned that once Naruto discovered her true identity, their dynamic might undergo a transformation. And Hela had a poor reputation. She was highly skilled, carrying out her tasks with precision. I am unsure of the number of cosmic races that have been destroyed by me. What a regrettable self. Would Naruto actually agree? Hela lacked a clear sense of financial accountability. It was the main reason Hela hesitated to confront Naruto. She was concerned that Naruto might decide to depart once he discovered her history. Oh, there is still an opportunity to inform him about this. Hela sighed and contemplated the impending confrontation with Naruto. As per his usual routine, Naruto found himself with no tasks or responsibilities for the day. He didn't have to possess extraordinary powers to make a difference in the world, and he didn't have to be concerned about earning a living. Today, Naruto's main focus was on spending quality time with Hela and embracing the joys of life. Naruto had also purchased a high-end yacht worth over $80 million some time ago, with the intention of eventually taking Hela to explore the outside world. Feeling unenthused in the house every day, even though it was cozy, it lacked a bit of excitement. Life should be embraced and lived to its fullest potential. Explore new landscapes and embrace novel experiences. Right as Naruto was preparing to take Hela out for a few days, an unexpected visitor arrived at the door. Mr. Nick Fury. When neither Coulson nor Natasha were able to reach Naruto, he took it upon himself to go out and have a conversation with Naruto. The location was a manor owned by Naruto. Coulson and a team of agents in sleek suits trailed behind Nick Fury. Greetings, I am Nick Fury, the esteemed director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I would like to discuss our relationship with you this time. Nick Fury was efficient and clear in stating his purpose. He displayed a relaxed demeanor in front of Naruto, showing no signs of restraint and exuding a strong sense of confidence. There is no connection between us, and I am not affiliated with S.H.I.E.L.D. either. Naruto had a strong dislike for Nick Fury and disapproved of his actions, which caused him to frown. What was the reason behind the self-righteousness displayed by individuals in the Marvel world? I have repeatedly emphasized the importance of not provoking me. Why were they not receptive? I have a crucial message for you. It would be wise to pay attention to what I have to say. Nick Fury was well aware of Naruto's character and recognized him as someone unafraid of trouble. However, Nick Fury remained indifferent. Naruto's skill did not instill fear in him. It was due to Nick Fury's lack of knowledge regarding Kingpin's situation. Had Nick Fury been aware of Naruto's ability to effortlessly punch through 2-meter-thick steel plates, he might have approached the situation with more prudence. Upon hearing Nick Fury's words, Naruto's heart filled with even greater disgust. I mentioned that I am looking out for your best interests, which is in line with the expectations of a professional. Throughout history, individuals from other nations were often unaware of the extensive damage caused to numerous civilizations under the guise of protection. This was not a novel occurrence. Although the S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau did not pose a threat to him, Naruto himself refrained from killing indiscriminately. Nick Fury wouldn't have the chance to sit here and have a conversation. Naruto would have already suffered a severe neck injury. If you have any information to share, please let me know. However, I want to make it clear that I am not interested in collaborating with you or becoming a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, please don't waste your time considering that possibility. Naruto responded with a lack of interest, showing no regard for Nick Fury. This was also typical. Naruto now possessed both strength and wealth. Nick Fury had nothing to offer him, and he had no interest in being a superhero. I simply desired a tranquil life at home. What might pique my interest in S.H.I.E.L.D.? If it weren't for S.H.I.E.L.D.'s professionalism in taking necessary measures and not going overboard, he would have completely disregarded the S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau. Someone is seeking your professional assistance, and you are unable to resolve their issue. Nick Fury, being observant, picked up on Naruto's impatience and decided to cut to the chase. Deal with me, who is it? Upon hearing Nick Fury's words, Naruto became more attentive. Need assistance with this? Is it possible that the 5 great gods have graced us with their presence on this earthly realm? Unaware of the disconnect between him and Nick Fury, did Naruto consider the possibility of a powerful being descending upon the earth and causing havoc? Could it have been Galactus? It appeared that Galactus had a well-thought-out strategy to consume the earth. Naruto was taken aback. Dealing with Galactus proved to be quite a challenge given his immense power. Are you familiar with the Brotherhood? Nick Fury confidently revealed that the Brotherhood of Mutants had set their sights on Naruto, eliminating any sense of mystery. Naruto remained composed, much to Nick Fury's surprise, as he regarded him with an enigmatic expression. Like he was asking, Brotherhood of Mutants? Is that all? Indeed, Naruto was quite taken aback when he heard Nick Fury mention that the Mutant Brotherhood had plans to confront him. If it was the 5 gods, it certainly caught the attention of the current Naruto. However, in Naruto's perspective, even someone as powerful as the Alpha-class mutant Magneto was nothing more than a clown. If he didn't come to instigate him, Naruto didn't want to concern himself with Magneto. However, if Magneto were to pose a challenge, Naruto would have no qualms about asserting his dominance and reminding Magneto of his place in this world. Are you not surprised to hear this news? Now Nick Fury finds himself a bit disoriented. During this era, when superheroes were not yet a prevalent presence, the Brotherhood of Mutants stood out as the most prominent villainous group. Even mainstream social media speculated about the potential destruction of the Earth by the Brotherhood of Mutants. Magneto has always been determined to bring about the downfall of human civilization. In the past, Nick Fury would seek out individuals and inform them that they were being targeted by the Mutant Brotherhood. Everyone would panic without fail and then desperately seek shelter from S.H.I.E.L.D. This technique was a true test of bravery, and Nick Fury frequently relied on it to secure numerous contracts. Given Magneto's extreme mutant supremacist views, it's not surprising that some people might question whether he and Nick Fury are working together. One for communication, the other for safety. It was an ideal fit. However, this action occurred in front of Naruto. Unfortunately, it did not meet the desired outcome according to Nick Fury's expectations. Nick Fury sensed a hint of relief in Naruto's demeanor upon learning that he had become a target of the Mutant Brotherhood. Did Naruto underestimate the potential threat posed by the Brotherhood of Mutants? Nick Fury was truly deserving of being the ultimate agent. His keen observation skills, both in verbal and non-verbal cues, were truly impressive. It was only through Naruto's tone and change of expression that he was able to discern Naruto's inner thoughts. It was clear that Naruto had no intention of concealing them, which played a role in this as well. I am being observed by the Magneto of the Mutant Brotherhood. Why? In all honesty, Naruto didn't consider being targeted by mutants to be a significant issue. However, Naruto remained somewhat perplexed. What was the reason for the mutants' intense gaze upon him? Shouldn't mutants focus their attention on high-level government officials who persecute them? Was it because of someone with expertise in the field? Do you realize the level of your worth at this moment? Nick Fury felt completely powerless. He discovered that he and Naruto were completely out of sync. And Naruto didn't seem to have any inkling of being a billionaire. Unlike Naruto, other billionaires had a higher net wealth, primarily consisting of properties registered under their names, which were not easily transferable. Naruto had a unique quality. His net cash flow was quite exceptional. This indicated that as long as Naruto was taken care of, anyone had the potential to acquire billions of dollars from him. Incidentally, due to the significant increase in Stark Group's stock price, Naruto's net worth has now reached the range of tens of billions. What an incredible stroke of luck. Why wouldn't someone be tempted? Indeed, over the past few days, Kingpin has provided valuable assistance to Naruto in handling multiple groups of criminals who were plotting to harm him. So, Magneto wants my money, huh? Naruto looked serious, holding the key to the problem. Nick Fury gave a nod of approval to Naruto's guess. Wealth was impressive. Even in the world of Marvel, a significant amount of wealth would undoubtedly catch the attention of numerous individuals. In addition, the Mutant Brotherhood faced financial difficulties, making it more convenient for them to target Naruto. Aside from your personal wealth, your significant social reputation is also a major factor contributing to these difficulties. Considering the extent of their control over you and their ability to leverage your reputation to advocate for mutants, one can't help but wonder about the potential global impact. Nick Fury spoke to Naruto with a commanding tone. Aside from its obvious worth, Naruto possessed a significant underlying value. Naruto was a highly accomplished author and an exceptionally talented writer in recent years. These days, it seems like everyone was a fan of Naruto. It's fascinating to consider the impact Naruto could have with his words at this moment. Based on what you've shared, it appears logical. Naruto nodded, affirming the validity of Nick Fury's news. It was determined that Magneto of the Brotherhood had a strong interest in him. He not only desired his payment but also sought to exploit him. Nevertheless, Naruto remained indifferent. Would he still be concerned about those mutants given his current strength? Would the dragon be concerned about ants who have shown ill intentions towards him? By joining us, you can rest assured that SHIELD will offer you top-notch protection, ensuring that the Mutant Brotherhood poses no threat to you. Nick Fury had previously shared a lot of information in front of him, but now he was finally revealing his true intentions. He anticipated that the Brotherhood's influence would lead Naruto to become involved with SHIELD. When Nick Fury approached Naruto, he had no reason to decline his offer. Unless Naruto intended to confront the Brotherhood by himself. Indeed, Naruto believed so. It was simply a brotherhood, insufficient to instill fear in Naruto. There is no topic of discussion. I have no interest in joining SHIELD. Regarding the Brotherhood, we can simply allow them to come over. Naruto said with a hint of contempt. He completely disregarded Magneto and other mutants. Nick Fury was unimpressed by Naruto's lack of determination. Despite extensive contemplation, Nick Fury remained perplexed by Naruto's rejection of his proposal. However, in the face of Naruto's unwavering determination, Nick Fury had no choice but to temporarily set aside his strategy to defeat Naruto. Regarding Naruto's safety, it is essential to implement appropriate security measures. Nick Fury was determined to prevent the Brotherhood from achieving their goals. Otherwise, there would be chaos, and SHIELD would also face immense pressure. Well, whenever you figure it out, SHIELD extends an invitation for you to join. Furthermore, I have one more matter to discuss with you. Unfortunately, the main goal for today was not achieved. Despite Nick Fury's disappointment, he didn't let it affect him too much. He shifted his focus and began discussing the second matter. Is there anything else you would like to add? Naruto was also intrigued in his heart. Is it possible that, in addition to the mutants, someone else had their sights set on him? Who was it? Hydra, or other major organizations? Do you truly have a deep understanding of your wife, Hela? Nick Fury spoke softly. Upon hearing Nick Fury's words, Naruto's demeanor swiftly shifted. If Naruto had never caught a cold from Nick Fury before, he would be utterly disgusted now. This frustrating braised egg, he believed it held significance. It became apparent that his intention was to incite discord between the husband and wife. Noticing Naruto's evident displeasure, Nick Fury promptly provided an explanation. I want to clarify something. I am not attempting to incite any emotions between a husband and wife, I am simply offering a gentle reminder. After conducting a thorough investigation into your wife's background, it has been determined that there is no record of a person named Hela prior to her presence in your life. She lacks a history and any familial connections. She seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. Do you have any idea what this signifies? Naruto remained silent, his mind consumed by deep contemplation in response to Nick Fury's words. Because Naruto discovered that what Nick Fury said appeared to be logical. Given the inability of even Nick Fury's shield to uncover Hela's information, it is clear that her past remains quite enigmatic. It appears that Hela is either not from this world, or her traces have been intentionally erased. If you give it some thought, did you and your wife just happen to find each other by chance? Is it truly not a deceptive scheme orchestrated by someone else? Then Nick Fury added, It was evident that Nick Fury's intention was clear, even though he didn't explicitly state it. He informed Naruto about an issue. Upon hearing Nick Fury's words, Naruto also found himself deep in thought. There are numerous aspects that he failed to perceive during his initial encounter. Looking back, it was quite a remarkable coincidence. As an illustration, Naruto discovered Hela 12 months ago. Upon opening the door one morning, Naruto was greeted by the sight of Hela lying outside. During that moment, Hela's body was drenched in blood, and she sustained severe injuries. Naruto was the one who brought Hela to his house and rescued her. From that time, Naruto began to develop feelings for Hela. As they attentively tended to Hela, their bond grew stronger until they eventually tied the knot. Initially, Naruto felt fortunate that he stumbled upon an opportunity to acquire a spouse without any cost. However, upon further reflection, I find myself somewhat perplexed. What if my wife was actually arranged by someone? Nick Fury mentioned that he was unable to locate any information regarding Hela. It was revealed that her origin was quite enigmatic. It was incredibly enigmatic, leaving even the most skilled investigators at SHIELD unable to track its origins. Hela's identity became even more enigmatic in Naruto's heart. At first glance, Naruto harbored a strong dislike for Nick Fury, seemingly skeptical of anything he said. I have a steadfast relationship with Hela. Regardless of her identity, she is my spouse. This cannot be changed. It would be best if you left. Please refrain from pressuring me to push you away. Naruto scolded with a stern expression. He disregarded Nick Fury and hurriedly delivered the news. Nick Fury was indifferent as well. He had expressed all the necessary points, regardless. Regarding his beliefs, that was Naruto's personal matter. He managed to achieve his goal regardless. Before departing, Nick Fury left his personal business card, assuring Naruto that he was available for any inquiries or assistance. Naruto disregarded the business card and promptly discarded it in the trash can. If there was something that Naruto couldn't handle, what was the purpose of the SHIELD Bureau? Regardless of any external influences, one thing remained constant: Hela's role in Naruto's story. It was clear that Naruto now had complete ownership over Hela, and there was no room for denial. If Hela truly belonged to a specific organization, Naruto would dismantle that organization and ensure Hela remains by his side. A recommended approach to handling sugar-coated cannonballs involved consuming the candies and retaliating against the cannonballs. Considering the situation, Naruto had no concerns about this. Given his free time, it was more productive to consider preparing a tasty dish to complement Hela's meal later. Otherwise, Naruto was deeply concerned about the possibility of his future child with Hela constantly experiencing hunger. Regardless of the difficulty, he refused to let the child endure any hardship. From her position on the second floor of the manor, Hela couldn't help but overhear the conversation between Naruto and Nick Fury. Upon learning that Nick Fury was actively pursuing a relationship with Naruto, Hela struggled to contain her urge to confront Nick Fury and express her frustration towards him. Upon hearing Naruto's words about believing in herself, Hela couldn't help but smile. Meanwhile, Hela let out a sigh of relief. Thankfully, the outcome she was most concerned about did not occur. If Naruto had any reservations due to Nick Fury's words, Hela would be at a loss for what to do. Naruto was incredibly resilient and seemed invincible. She desired to avoid being a widow indefinitely. Thankfully, Naruto's response ultimately left Hela feeling content. She made a conscious decision to treat this man with more respect tonight. The tricks that she typically disapproved of could be seen as rewards for Naruto's exceptional performance today. Naturally, Hela's heart remained highly alert. Naruto could trust her completely. Hela was pleased with the outcome, but it also served as a reminder for her to stay vigilant. Eventually, Naruto would discover her true identity. Would Naruto still choose to think about her in the same way and trust her completely? Hela was uncertain and unsure of how to proceed. I believe it would be wise for me to begin sharing some aspects of my past with him gradually, allowing him to mentally prepare. By adopting a professional approach, when the truth is ultimately unveiled, it may become easier for him to come to terms with it. Hela considered it in her mind and concluded that this approach was practical. At this moment, Hela had a profound realization. Feelings can be incredibly complex and challenging to navigate. Hela even found that when she collaborated with Odin to devise a war strategy in the past, it wasn't as challenging as it currently seemed. Falling in love can be quite challenging. In addition to these matters, she had no intention of allowing Nick Fury to escape. This braised egg caused a significant rift between the couple, which was quite excessive. I need to address that individual who has behaved inappropriately. I'm uncertain about the tactics this deceitful individual will employ. Furthermore, the Brotherhood of Mutants was also present. Through a conversation between Nick Fury and Naruto, Hela discovered that there was an organization known as the Brotherhood of Mutants that was currently opposing Naruto. Can you even touch, my friend? You have the audacity to do something to my partner. Are you certain that you're unfamiliar with how to spell the word death? Hela had made up her mind. First, visit a high-quality restaurant and order a deliciously prepared braised egg. First, we need to address the matter at hand and neutralize the threat posed by the Brotherhood of Mutants. This elderly woman is quite the charmer. The elderly woman was determined to safeguard him personally. Right now, Hela felt an overwhelming desire to fiercely protect someone, a feeling she had never experienced before. Hela failed to grasp the underlying motivation behind this longing for security, affection. Magneto, despite his weakened state, was diligently formulating his strategy within the confines of an abandoned factory. Unaware of the impending danger, he remained oblivious to the fact that his mutant brotherhood had become the focus of a formidable goddess of death. During our investigation, it was discovered that a significant number of security personnel are deployed around Naruto's residence. If we desire to take action, there is a significant likelihood of creating a disturbance. Magneto gestured towards the floor plan of Naruto's manor on the blackboard and addressed the members of the Brotherhood below. Magneto was unaware that the individuals he observed were not bodyguards, but rather gangsters strategically positioned by Kingpin. The primary responsibility of these individuals was not to safeguard Naruto's well-being, but rather to prevent any harm from coming to visually impaired individuals. That really gets under Naruto's skin. Kingpin no longer desired to endure the thrill of being extracted from the subterranean warehouse. Then we are unable to proceed with an offensive strategy. So, what course of action do you recommend? Outsmart. A man of considerable stature glanced at the drawings beside Magneto and inquired. Indeed, we have the ability to outsmart. Entering the manor without proper caution could lead to a significant disturbance and draw the attention of a troublesome group. Magneto nodded and agreed with the strategy of outsmarting, and promptly started making detailed arrangements. Firstly, you, the witch. Your objective is to gain access to this manor and devise a strategy to outsmart Naruto. Magneto addressed a woman who possessed exquisite blue scales covering her entire body. The devil acknowledged with a nod. Thanks to her exceptional mutation ability, completing this task was a breeze. Then we will find a way to manage Naruto's spouse. This individual is Naruto's true vulnerability. Having her in his possession, Naruto is willing to sacrifice everything. Magneto provided a concise overview of the plan. Despite not being completely leak-proof, the approach was well-reasoned and had a high likelihood of success. Contemplating this, a smile graced the corner of Magneto's mouth. This was the confident smile that indicated his certainty of triumph. Thor has been feeling quite frustrated lately. He had never experienced such emotions before. As the god of thunder in Norse mythology, the Prince of Asgard, the first successor to the throne of the King of Gods, Thor displayed a lack of worldly wisdom. He had a unique way of expressing his artistry through sand sculpting. However, a series of recent events had caught the attention of the young Thor. He had lived for countless years, and he had never experienced such profound sadness. First Loki, his loyal brother who had stood by his side through countless trials and tribulations. His younger brother Loki was confirmed to have different parentage. In addition, Loki's true identity turned out to be the mortal enemy of Asgard, the offspring of the King of Frost Giants. In a previous battle, Loki was brought back to Asgard by Odin for his upbringing. Never mind. Regardless, Thor believed that blood had no impact on the bond between him and his brother Loki. However, Loki held a different opinion. Upon discovering that he did not possess the bloodline of Odin's family, Loki's demeanor immediately turned dark. He cunningly exploited Odin's slumber to claim the throne of the king and subsequently dispatched the formidable destroyer armor to eliminate Thor. Ultimately, The two brothers became adversaries, and Loki was cast into the depths of the universe. The status of his life or death became uncertain. My younger brother, who has been by my side for countless years. That was lost. Thor felt a sense of melancholy. However, what intensified Thor's frustration was Odin's sudden revelation about his previously unknown older sister. His sister was Hela, the first child of Odin and the rightful heir of Asgard. It's worth noting that Hela's upbringing under Odin's guidance had a profound impact on her, leading her down a path of violence and destruction. As a result, Odin made the decision to seal her away. However, Hela has managed to break free from her confinement, and her current location remains a mystery. After experiencing 2 consecutive events, Thor found himself feeling a bit distracted and even questioning the meaning of life. Despite being in Odin's golden palace, Thor couldn't help but ponder over Loki and his mysterious sister. While seated on the king's throne, Odin pondered upon Hela. He was currently quite frustrated, even more so than Thor. Loki took over the throne, and Odin was aware of the situation. He agreed to it. However, the decision to send the destroyer armor to Midgard served a dual purpose. It not only tested Thor's abilities, but also aimed to track down any signs of Hela's presence. Thor's test met the expected criteria, but unfortunately, Hela's trial could not be located. This was also a concern for Odin at the moment. Odin was fully aware that Hela would never forgive him for his past actions. It is inevitable that Hela will eventually return to Asgard, and that period would certainly pose a significant challenge for Asgard. It was most effective to reseal Hela before her injury had fully healed. Finding the trace of Hela was crucial in order to successfully seal her away. Otherwise, if no one discovered her, would they consider her existence? Where was Hela located? Who possessed such immense power that she was concealed? Why was I unable to perceive my own shadow? Considering this, Odin let out another sigh, filled with sadness. However, Odin was certain that Hela was still in Midgard. Odin sealed Hela in the Midgard world in the past. However, given the vastness of Midgard, what options did he have to locate Hela? Currently, Odin glanced down at Thor. Perhaps, it's time to spread the glory of Asgard in the Midgard. Odin pondered quietly. Merely depending on Asgard to locate Hela proved insufficient. Using humans in the Midgard world was a more favorable approach. There were numerous influential individuals present. They need to be more efficient in locating Hela. Odin, with a clear vision in mind, finally gathered his courage and began to speak deliberately. Thor, my child, I have something important to discuss. Can you assist me with this task? Thor was roused from his thoughts by Odin's voice, causing him to instinctively turn his gaze towards his father. What's the issue? Thor asked innocently. Odin's mouth twitched almost imperceptibly, and a tinge of sadness filled his heart. A man who possessed great cunning, and a woman who embodied virtue, Frigga. How could someone be so lacking in experience and understanding? Is it possible that Hela inherited all of my exceptional genes, resulting in Thor's impaired brain development? He simply believed so, but Odin didn't explicitly state it. You have visited Midgard. What is your opinion on mortals? Odin inquired of Thor. Thor reflected on the humans he had encountered on Midgard, Earth. Jane Foster left a lasting impression on him. He responded, "It is quite large, extremely white, incredibly soft, and holds a special place in my heart." Thor soon realized his mistake, but unfortunately, it was already too late. Odin's expression had already become noticeably serious. Suppressing his anger, Odin proceeded, "I will allow you to return to Midgard once more. Would you be interested in it? Is there really something like that?" Thor was pleasantly surprised. All the difficulties he had previously encountered vanished. Suppressing the temptation to harm Thor with a stick, Odin quietly repeated to himself, "This is my own blood. This is my own child." After managing to control his emotions, Odin nodded. "However, I am not sending you to play. What is your mission?" Odin stated. Thor nodded in agreement. His girlfriend held no significance. What mattered most was the task at hand. He was ready to go to great lengths to assist his father and alleviate his concerns, rather than spending time with his girlfriend. This time, you will journey to Midgard, representing Asgard. Seek assistance from capable individuals to locate Hela's current location. Do you comprehend? Odin shared his plan. Woodwas remained motionless for Hela. If this eldest daughter wasn't arranged sooner, he would never be able to find peace. Thor didn't pay close attention to this task. He was very fond of his girlfriend, who was kind-hearted and had a gentle nature. After Odin had finished speaking, Thor nodded promptly. I would be concerned that Odin might have regrets if he didn't react quickly enough. Odin was filled with regret, constantly doubting Thor's suitability for the task at hand. It would be fantastic if Loki were present. Loki demonstrated a higher level of cunning and reliability compared to Thor. However, Odin ultimately dismissed these thoughts and instructed Thor to leave. Another glance, his heart aches even more. What a fool. After Thor departed, Odin rose from the king's throne with a deliberate grace. The lone eye gazed upon the land of Asgard, filled with a sense of longing. This is my domain, and it will forever remain under my control. Odin pondered at a leisurely pace. Only those who were truly committed to maintaining their position as the ruler of the gods could claim the title of king. Regardless of whether it's Hela or Thor, the situation remains unchanged. He was willing to relinquish the throne, but the children were unable to seize it. This was his Asgard, the country he established and led to prosperity. Some individuals may perceive Odin as a benevolent elderly character in Thor 3. However, not many were aware that Odin had a reputation as a renowned warrior during his youth. Hela, the renowned death goddess, was Odin's most esteemed creation. However, even for Hela, the amount of blood on her hands paled in comparison to Odin's. Today was a bright and beautiful day. Naruto woke up bright and early in the morning, ready to start his day. He noticed a sound in his ear. Sign in successfully, and receive a well-deserved reward for completing the Conan comics. Observing today's system reward, Naruto's mouth twitched a few times. However, reflecting on Hela's collaboration last night and her innovative techniques, Naruto's mood lifted once more. It's preferable to be with my wife, who possessed the qualities of thoughtfulness and kindness that touched people's hearts. After recalling the pleasant flavor from last night's experience, Naruto rose to his feet to start preparing breakfast. Today, he woke up earlier than before. In the past, he would stay up past 8 o'clock, but recently he has been waking up at 7. He woke up bright and early, as expected, for a specific purpose. A high-end yacht that Naruto had previously ordered has now been delivered and is currently moored at Naruto's exclusive dock. Today, Naruto made plans to take Hela out for some relaxation. Now that life was full of ease and enjoyment, it was time to think about ways to add more vibrancy. Naruto's plan was to embark on the yacht journey from New York City and sail along the coast all the way to Los Angeles. Naruto also owned a lavish villa in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles. It was time to bask in the warm California sun and soak up the beach vibes. Naruto considered the situation and pulled out his phone to check for any recent updates. One of the first things that grabbed his attention was a video. In the video, a well-known individual of considerable size was engaged in a confrontation with military personnel. The location of the altercation appeared to be an academic institution. The Hulk, a character in the Marvel world, is known for his large size and green body color. It appears that the events of the Hulk have transpired. Naruto considered the matter internally, but didn't give it much weight. He had no intention of being a savior, nor did he enjoy being a hero. When it comes to the Hulk, S.H.I.E.L.D. is sure to face a major challenge. In addition, the epic clash between Hulk and Abomination took place in the heart of Manhattan, completely unrelated to Naruto's world, where he had no presence whatsoever. His luxurious beachfront property was located just outside of New York City, making him Tony's neighbor. After a few glances, Naruto swiftly moved on from the Hulk. Given the level of dedication, it would be wise to consider the necessary ingredients for the yacht at a later time. Hela's body required additional supplements due to its weakened state. Even though Naruto didn't mind it being larger, he appreciated its convenient one-handed grip. This was also done with a focus on children. It was clear that Naruto was highly skilled and experienced, and men were no exception. However, Naruto considered himself to be a highly principled LSP. He respectfully acknowledged the lifeless form of his wife, Hela. Other individuals, like Naruto, wouldn't even give it a second thought. Hela also rose groggily at this moment. Feeling the fatigue in her body, Hela blushed and couldn't help but marvel at Naruto's incredible strength. However, Her heart was filled with even more kindness. Who wouldn't want the people they care about to be focused on themselves? In addition, following a thorough examination last night, Hila was now convinced that Naruto was far from being an ordinary mortal. Such incredible strength and endurance. She thought Naruto was divine, just like herself. Regarding the particular deity, it was inconsequential. Wasn't it crucial that Naruto had genuine feelings for her? With a weary and challenging effort, Hila made her way down the stairs. After observing Naruto, who was occupied in the kitchen, a sense of tenderness emerged in her otherwise aloof gaze. The sense of being well looked after each morning upon waking up was truly satisfying. As she entered the kitchen, Hila leaned softly against Naruto's back and asked, "What will I be having today?" Hila inquired with a professional demeanor, her eyes filled with a subtle grace. "I will prepare a nourishing soup to help replenish your body. Your hard work yesterday is greatly appreciated." Naruto made a clever pun and managed to successfully take Hila's eye. "Since you're occupied, I'll go ahead and take a bath. I hope the scent won't be unpleasant." Speaking of this, Hila cast a disapproving glance at Naruto, reaching out to firmly grasp his muscles and twist them forcefully. That hurt. Naruto let out an unusual cry, and the soup in his hand was on the verge of being disrupted. Hila then confidently walked away and made her way to the bathroom on the first floor. Naruto observed Hila, who resembled a child, with a mixture of amusement and affection, and gently shook his head. He neglected to remember one thing. That assessment was made considering Naruto's current physical capabilities. How could a woman with less physical strength manage to pinch him? A seemingly impenetrable skin that proved to be surprisingly fragile under Hila's delicate touch. This alone provided significant insight. At this moment, Naruto's heart was filled with affection for Hila, completely oblivious to his own feelings. Following a modest breakfast, the pair embarked on the yacht. This elegant vessel is known as the Goddess, a symbol of luxury and sophistication. Indeed, Naruto made the purchase for Hila. There was nobody on the yacht as Naruto skillfully navigated it single-handedly, demonstrating his self-sufficiency. Experience the reward of Tom Cat's mouse catching experience. Except for not allowing Naruto to learn how to catch mice, all the other skills were commendable. Various forms of refined music, a wide range of sophisticated sports, the utilization of diverse modes of transportation, and even a wealth of scientific and technological knowledge were encompassed. It provided no instruction on catching a mouse whatsoever. It appears that Tom the cat had limited success in catching mice. With a focused mindset, Naruto swiftly began operating the yacht. Then, with Hila watching eagerly, the two reclined on the deck of the yacht and set off towards the City of Angels on the opposite side of the continent. The fantastic vacation had officially started. In Naruto's manner, the girl with the witch-like appearance, who had altered her face, harbored doubts about the existence within the abandoned estate. Who am I? Where am I? What am I going to do? The skilled individual expended a significant amount of effort infiltrating this highly secured estate, only to discover that the intended individual had already fled. Was the plan discovered by the target? It shouldn't be like that. The bewildered magical girl found herself in front of the vacant luxury manor, feeling completely disoriented. In a dimly lit alleyway in Los Angeles, Bruce Banner was discreetly concealing his location. When did these days begin? It appeared to have originated from that unfortunate experiment. Bruce Banner reflected on the past. A while back, Bruce Banner found himself in an unfamiliar predicament. During that period, Bruce Banner was highly successful in life. Being a highly respected professor of physics, he discovered a remarkable and stunning girlfriend, reaching the highest point in his life. At first, Bruce Banner believed he would continue to succeed until he was exposed to gamma rays. Following that, a demon emerged within Bruce Banner, initiating a harrowing ordeal. He was being pursued by the military, agents, and private research laboratories. This unfortunate situation left Bruce Banner feeling utterly hopeless. He consistently sought refuge and evaded confrontation. Would you like to inquire about Bruce Banner's potential regrets? Then he must be feeling remorseful. If he had known the consequences of his actions, he would have never participated in that ill-fated, gamma-ray experiment. It's simply that there was no remedy for regret in life. Once an event occurred, there was no turning back. Bruce Banner had a similar demeanor. He had lost his status as a prominent athlete and was now living as a homeless individual. Attentively aware of the footsteps surrounding him, Bruce Banner instinctively reduced his physical presence. I'm feeling quite chilly and famished. He longed for someone to perceive his inner courage and uncover his facade. Then assure him, do not fret, I will assist you. It's unfortunate. This could only appear in a dream of someone like Bruce Banner. While Naruto was basking in the warm rays of the sun out at sea, he was unaware. Due to a series of events, the battle between the Hulk and the Abomination, which was originally planned to happen in Manhattan, was relocated to the City of Angels. Bruce Banner, already famished, discreetly entered his opulent villa in Beverly Hills. At this moment, Naruto was still charming Gila, unaware that his extravagant villa had been taken over. Naruto, what are your thoughts on Captain Barbossa, a character from Pirates of the Caribbean? I have a negative opinion of him. It's difficult to find anyone who would have a favorable view of an unpleasant elderly individual. Naruto responded directly, puzzled by Hela's peculiar inquiry. What can be said about Demon King Sauron, Lord of the Rings, most prominent antagonist? I also have reservations about him. What's your reason for asking? Just asking, nothing villainous. Gila smiled, villain. The gaze was elusive. What are your thoughts on Voldemort, the main antagonist from the Harry Potter movie series? I also have a negative opinion of him. It's hard to find anyone who would have a positive view of the villain. Naruto pondered. Why did Gila continue to ask such unintelligent questions? That's it, alright. Gila hesitated slightly but refrained from further inquiry. She believed deep down that the confrontation with Naruto needed to be postponed. Little did Gila realize that Naruto held a strong disdain for those villains, not due to their wickedness. However, those villains appeared less attractive than others. Why would anyone have a positive opinion of them? If Gila were to inquire about Naruto's preference for female villains, he would undoubtedly express his fondness for them. I could only say that Gila had yet to fully grasp the intricacies of the male psyche. Despite his lack of understanding regarding Hela's intentions with these questions, Naruto also noticed that Gila seemed preoccupied. Naruto embraced Gila without hesitation, expressing his affection without words. Executing actions was always more straightforward than verbalizing, and it could also effectively convey Naruto's intentions. Gila, who was still slightly concerned, nestled in Naruto's arms, surrendering to the tranquility of this moment. Xavier School for the Gifted Youngsters was well known in the Marvel Universe. This location served as the base of operations for the X-Men and a haven for mutants. A highly skilled individual, Professor X took personal responsibility for overseeing this operation, providing a safe haven for numerous mutant children who were without homes. With the connections of Professor X and the influence of the Federation, certain individuals are hesitant to expand their reach in this area. In these recent days, Professor X, a revered figure among mutants, has unfortunately become ill. He was not feeling well. It felt as though I was being assaulted by an unknown entity. Currently, Professor X was resting on a pristine hospital bed, his complexion appearing pallid with dark markings. Despite being unconscious, Professor X occasionally displayed a pained expression, suggesting he was experiencing significant discomfort. Jean, how is the professor doing? Scott anxiously asked Jean Grey about Laser Eye while wearing a pair of quartz glasses. Jean Grey appeared somber as she shook her head in disappointment. The professor's condition is deteriorating, with his physical abilities weakening and his body showing signs of decline. If a solution cannot be found, the professor's remaining time is limited to a maximum of 3 days. Jean Grey made a concerted effort to maintain her composure, striving to prevent herself from shedding tears. However, her words still deeply affected the other X-Men. Professor X was highly regarded and held in great esteem by the X-Men, who saw him as a revered figure and a wise elder. However, it is unfortunate that an elderly individual who dedicated their life to mutants faced such unfortunate circumstances. This outcome caused significant discomfort among all mutants. Oh no, what's happening? How can a respected professor become sick? Laser Eye forcefully pounded the wall beside him. The pain in his hand was minimal compared to the immense sorrow he felt in his heart. However, his venting was unprofessional and did not provide any relief to Professor X's current situation. Jean, could you provide an update on what occurred during this period and shed some light on why the professor's health deteriorated? It's surprising considering how robust he was. There must be a logical explanation for this. Consider the possibility that the professor may have been targeted by someone. Storm Girl demonstrated a high level of sensibility compared to the others present, recognizing that allowing anxiety to take over would not lead to any solutions. Upon hearing Storm Girl's words, all eyes turned to Jean. Jean also reflected on her professional experience and that of her colleagues. He has been quite busy in the past few days. There appears to be an issue. I'm uncertain if it is related to the professor's illness. Jean recalled the previous clash between Professor X and Naruto. It appeared that from that point forward, his health started to decline gradually. After hearing Jean's account, several X-men also grew quiet. If Jean Grey's assessment is accurate, it is highly probable that the actions of the author Naruto are responsible for the current predicament of the professor. However, the entire situation was initiated by Professor X initially. If Professor X had exercised caution before attempting to probe Naruto's memories, Naruto may not have retaliated against him. Looking at this matter, it is clear that Professor X himself was not without fault. Despite their desire to seek justice for Professor X, they were unable to uphold their ethical principles. The X-Men had a strong sense of ethics and were capable of empathetic thinking. From a logical standpoint, if one were to attempt to infiltrate someone's thoughts, it would inevitably result in the demise of the individual in question. Looking at it from this perspective, regardless of whether Naruto was truly responsible for Professor X's current misery, it ultimately falls on Professor X to take responsibility for his own situation. Actually, this pot belonged to Naruto. It's worth noting that Naruto had extensive knowledge of black magic. Stumbling upon a sinister black magic curse proved to be fatal for Professor X. Even those skilled in manipulation of the mind were susceptible to the dark powers of cursed black magic. Naruto was not one to shy away from a fight. I'm determined to locate him and request his release of the professor. The Laser Eye, who received significant assistance from Professor X, upon learning of a specific target. He quickly became restless and abruptly decided to depart. Scott, it would be unwise to proceed. Proceeding will only exacerbate the conflict. We must take responsibility for this situation. Jean Grey intervened to prevent Laser Eye from causing any trouble with Naruto. I have to leave. I cannot bear to witness the professor's demise right before my eyes. Besides, I have no intention of causing any issues. The Laser Eye has ceased functioning. His expression exuded determination, and the veins in his tightly clenched right hand were prominently visible. So, what is your plan? A confident individual spoke, their tone tinged with curiosity. It was the experienced oilman in the X-Men, Logan Wolverine. I will plead with him to release the professor. I am willing to go to great lengths, even kneeling before him, in order to convince him. I am prepared to kneel indefinitely, following him wherever he may go, if necessary. Laser Eye spoke with an extremely assertive tone, using very direct language. Ultimately, the X-Men were unable to thwart Laser Eye's plans. Allow him to attempt it. What if he achieves his goal? And Professor X found himself in a challenging predicament at the moment. If they didn't find a solution soon, his life was in serious jeopardy. Many X-Men were hopeful for Laser Eye's success. Otherwise, the professor would become quite chilly. Nick Fury was deeply offended. Who was he? He held the prestigious position of director at S.H.I.E.L.D., commanding respect as the epitome of an agent and serving as the vigilant protector of our planet. However, those politicians actually considered him a diplomat and requested his involvement in diplomacy. This was a disappointing misuse of skill. It was quite disrespectful. Just an hour ago, the National Affairs Officer of the United States contacted Nick Fury and requested his presence at a diplomatic conference. At this diplomatic conference, Nick Fury was visibly frustrated, scratching his head repeatedly in exasperation. Thanks to his lack of hair, otherwise he really did not know how much hair of his would fall. However, upon entering this diplomatic conference room, Nick Fury found himself perplexed. This diplomatic conference exceeded his expectations in terms of sophistication and elegance. Not only did high-ranking officials from America attend in person, but also influential figures from all major countries on the planet. Is this diplomatic conference about communicating with extraterrestrial beings? Nick Fury quietly pondered to himself. Nick Fury, do you have any idea who this meeting is intended for? It's not every day we encounter such a significant battle. Next to Nick Fury, his longtime friend Alexander Pierce asked Nick Fury in a hushed tone. Nick Fury maintained a composed demeanor as he shook his head in a deliberate manner. Despite having a high level of trust in Alexander Pierce, he found himself completely unaware of the situation this time. With all the attendees present, the diplomatic conference officially began. The initial speaker to take the stage was the United States representative, Mr. Unreliable. A person who lacks dependability took their own distinct approach, gradually making their way to the center of the podium, and proceeded to speak in a narrative style. Honestly, Nick Fury didn't catch a cold for this unreliable individual. Disregarding Mr. Unreliable's speech, he selectively paid attention to a few crucial sentences. "We discovered a new friend recently." Another sentence that caught our attention was, "Humans are not the only ones here." The previous statement read, "Greetings to our esteemed guests from Asgard." The realm of Asgard and its rich Norse mythology were well known to Nick Fury. He was well aware of the fact that Asgard truly existed. Recently, there was a Thor in New Mexico. Is it possible that Thor of Asgard has returned once more? Nick Fury had a hunch about the truth, and his suspicions were confirmed when Thor made his appearance. Indeed, this diplomatic conference was held to extend a warm welcome to Thor. Thor, following Odin's instructions, reached out to top-ranking human officials upon his arrival on Earth. And after establishing the existence of Asgard, he quickly gained recognition as a respected visitor. "Greetings, humans, in Midgard. I am Thor from Asgard." Upon hearing the opening sentence of Thor, the audience's expressions turned sour with frustration. This Thor's mouth was of poor quality. However, Thor held a different opinion. He believed he was speaking honestly, displaying a great deal of sincerity. "I came to your Midgard this time, primarily due to two factors. Our priority is to foster a strong diplomatic relationship with the humans in Midgard. We should all be natural allies, as we are all in the 9 realms. Another aspect to consider is how you can assist me in unlocking your potential and locating my sister." Thor's trip had a clear objective. One way was to inform mortals of the existence of Asgard, while the other involved utilizing humans to locate Hela. "I would like to inquire, if you don't mind. May I inquire about the name of your sister?" Someone inquired about the question. They were completely unaware of any name. How did they manage to locate her? In Norse mythology, it was not mentioned that Thor had an older sister. This was done with expertise. Many of the myths were fabricated. How can they be completely accurate? "You are correct. My sister goes by the name Hela. I haven't seen her appearance before. I believe she will appear quite impressive." Thor promptly rectified his error and promptly furnished the necessary information. However, there was only one name mentioned without any details about the appearance. It became even more challenging to locate her. Many individuals pondered the best way to assist Thor in locating his sister amidst the immense crowd. Only Nick Fury, upon hearing the word Hela, he nearly spewed out the tea in his mouth. If it weren't for his complexion, I'm afraid his face would be blushing. However, Nick Fury was no longer able to handle this situation. He was deeply absorbed in Thor's words. Hello. Nick Fury pondered the source of this name. It's not just a mere coincidence. Considering Hela's mysterious background, Nick Fury believed that this possibility was becoming increasingly likely. Perhaps this Hela truly descended from the heavens. Unaware of his surroundings, Nick Fury's friend observed his reaction closely. Alexander Pierce, who was believed to be the president of the Security Council and the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D., turned out to be a loyal member of Hydra. After closely observing Nick Fury's reaction, he began to contemplate. Does Nick Fury have any information on the whereabouts of Hela? I must conduct a thorough investigation. Alexander Pierce pondered. With his exceptional skills in organizing Hydra into S.H.I.E.L.D., there was no question about his capabilities. The skill of observing words and gestures was on par with Nick Fury. Based on Nick Fury's response, it seems that he had a lot on his mind. Shortly after, the meeting concluded, and all attendees departed from the conference room. Thor, a highly respected deity, departed alongside a group of distinguished individuals. He had achieved great success and was now at the pinnacle of his career. Nick Fury discreetly veered away from the human high-level officials and quietly made his way to a corner. He immediately prioritized ensuring the utmost confidentiality of the information regarding Hila and Naruto. Only the director had the authority to view it. After completing all of this, he felt a sense of relief. If my assumption is correct, then Naruto is quite fortunate. Nick Fury couldn't help but feel a tinge of envy in his heart. Marrying a truly remarkable individual was even more extraordinary than the storyline in a film. Is it possible that Naruto saved the galaxy in a previous life? Otherwise, what could explain his remarkable fortune? Little did Nick Fury know, Alexander Pierce was also conducting an investigation into Hila during this period. He initially accessed the SHIELD database, but discovered no information. I distinctly recall seeing it yesterday. Pierce pondered with a sense of bewilderment. He vividly recalled reading the report on Hila yesterday. Why was he unable to locate it? Stay tuned for more. And that's a wrap for now. Thank you so much for tuning into this incredible video. If you absolutely loved it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for even more amazing content coming your way.